Did you see that Joe Biden dared to put a pride flag outside the White House?
Boy, did I fucking
hung it up himself.
I couldn't not see it. It's the second that I opened up Twitter, I saw a bunch of posts from like End Wokeness, Ben Shapiro, and a bunch of other people just crying about it. Absolutely coping and crying about it. End Wokeness ended up posting something that was like the fall of Western civilization.
The West has fallen.
And then I'm looking at the comments to see what other people are saying. Like, yeah, it's a really sad state that this country is in right now. And then other people, other absolute fucking nerds. I don't know how else to, like, derogatory nerds, right? Dropping the flag code. The U.S. flag code says, and like
the U.S. flag shall never flank another flag. It will always be set. Come on.
If you're typing that, like there's so many things that have to go on. There's so much time it takes to type that. You should be able to. There should be a mental check. And it's like, do I sound like a fucking bitch right now?
No, it's the corniest shit because it's like, I didn't even know this was happening. I had no idea. As someone who's tuned into politics, who keeps an eye on the evolution of the woke mind virus, I usually know what kind of stuff is going on in the world, at least in the United States. And I had no idea this event was happening. The only reason I saw that there was a bunch of pride stuff around the White House is because they posted about it.
It's just like the Dylan Mulvaney
I only saw it from them.
The only reason I knew that she was doing something with Bud Light was because conservatives were crying about it.
They told you had to know.
Exactly. They signal boost all of this. Nobody would know. Because, like, who fucking cares?
They're such snowflakes. It's crazy.
Who cares? I saw somebody post. It was probably End Wokeness again.
Yeah.
Trash account.
Whoever runs that account is a Jesus Christ.
Go outside.
Yeah.
Please touch some fucking grass and quit crying on the internet. Oh my God. I saw him post a picture of Nazi Germany, like flags hanging in Nazi Germany, and then another picture of like flags hanging in the streets for pride. And they're like, yep.
Well, famously, like, Nazis really loved gay people.
Famously, hanging up flags, Nazi.
Yeah, that's a Nazi thing to do.
You must be a Nazi. And then people in the comments like, yeah, we know who the real Nazis are now.
Yeah.
Bro, it's you. It's you. The call is coming from inside of the house. It's you.
The one doing all of the Nazi shit is screeching about Nazis. It's always very ironic.
The one who's
funny.
Actively, genociding trans people.
Yep.
They're the victims of the modern day Nazis, the political left, the woke mind virus.
Well, yeah, it's but also it's cultural Marxism at the same time.
Yeah.
It's the Marxists and the Nazis. Well, it's the same thing, really. Obviously.
Oh my God, bro! I was so sick of it. It was just actively fucking pissing me off. And then there's the statue thing that happened.
Oh yeah,
there's a statue thing that's going on that they're crying about. I saw Kevin Sorbo, failed D-list Christian actor, fucking. Bitches.
A nobody.
Exactly. Nobody. Posting about that. He's like, the left is constantly obsessed with tearing these monuments down. Do they not want to remember history? Do they want to just make us forget history? Well, they're gonna be doomed to repeat it. It's like, yeah. The party that wants to teach you history in school, the party that hasn't been banning books and hasn't been trying to radically re-engineer history education in this country to not include any mention of black or brown people in their plights. That's the party that's trying to get you to forget history.
Yeah, the left, the ones who like don't want slave owners throughout history lionized, are the ones who don't want to teach you inadequate history. Like, the people who are willing to go to cover in detail the in and outs of racial reality in this country are the ones who don't want to teach you what history really was. I would love it if we had a month-long section in every kid's history class about how awful slavery was and about how it poisoned the United States as a political project. I would love that. Absolutely. They're the ones that say that's like Marxism or CRT scary, whatever
and
it
it's
is.
like,
Wokeness.
I mean, like, I hate to do the obvious here, but like, are there statues of Hitler? Are there statues of Hitler all over Germany riding like fucking horses charging into battle? Like, no.
Looking strong, looking like a deity.
You don't need a statue to do any of this. And it's like these statues, they're not meant to help you remember history.
Yeah, no.
They're meant to honor the people who's being statuized or whatever the fuck it is. On the stupid plaque, it probably said something like, Revolutionary War hero.
Oh, no, yeah, exactly.
No mention of like this person owned slaves.
Yeah.
Like that's what it, I just, statue discourse is crazy.
Not to mention that a lot of those statues, especially statues of Confederate generals, went up in the 60s and 50s and 20s even in response to civil rights movements.
Yeah.
Right, as a way of scaring people and reminding them of the country that they're in, of the history of the country that they're in.
What's the website? Southern Poverty Law?
I can't remember.
Or some shit like that?
That is like a pretty good organization, though.
That's their name, right?
Something like that.
Okay, it's something like that. It's something law. Like I think it's Southern Poverty Law, has a chart tracking the date where most Confederate like war hero statues were erected, and it's during both civil rights movements. That's when it was.
Yeah,
wasn't anywhere. They're explicitly to scare black people.
You also gotta love how the right wing in this country, at least like the end wokeness right, you know what I mean? Like that crowd has completely just abandoned being in support of freedom. Like that's not even a part of their political agenda anymore. Because if it was, they really wouldn't care. They'd have a more libertarian view towards social matters. But they've completely abandoned that. They're going for abortion bans. They're getting rid of gender affirming care. They're going after the LGBTQ broadly. It just freedom to them isn't a consideration anymore. It just doesn't matter.
They're just going hard religious right. They're going so hard religious right.
They also conveniently forget that Donald Trump had a whole group behind him called LGBT for Trump.
Yeah, what about the LGB Alliance?
And he sold, during 1 June, he sold MAGA hats that were rainbow colored.
Yeah.
They just forget about that, though.
There's been a period like that we've covered for the last couple of months where it's like during the midst of all this trans people are grooming your kids, drag queens are grooming kids rhetoric, there's been the LGB Alliance and all of these like lesbian, gay, and bi people, but that's it. Separating themselves from trans people and other queer people just to tokenize themselves and talk shit.
Yeah. So, see, as a cis het guy, right? I say this with maximum amount of humility. Right?
Okay.
100% humility.
Yeah.
I might just be talking out my ass. I feel like the people that are going like, I'm gay, but don't associate me with a T. Like, you know, we're not similar at all. We have nothing to do with each other. I feel like that's kind of a psyop. That reeks psyop to me. You know what I mean? Because very clearly the interests are aligned because of the history of oppression in this country. It's pretty obvious. I think the people, at least the inception of that kind of narrative is just like a psyop or like a narrative spun by like Daily Wire type organizations.
See, but it's like Dave Rubin's a real person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Dave Rubin exists and he's like in the same, like Candace Owens exists.
I think he's a grifter. Like he doesn't believe any of that.
No, I remember we talked about this one clip of Dave Rubin where he was asking questions from viewers. This is like 50 episodes ago, right?
Okay.
And a viewer asked him like, how would he feel if he had a gay kid?
Oh yes, I remember.
Him as a gay man, he's like, well, I wouldn't want my kid to be gay, but not because like I don't accept it, but like, well, but just because it's just harder in this world to be gay. Like it's just harder to be gay.
Not that that's a bad
straight.
thing.
Not that, and then that's right.
Yeah.
Because he took that and he said, not that I think it's bad for things to be hard in life, but it's just a harder. And he's just talking. It's like, come on, bro. Mm-hmm. Like one, you're actively making it harder.
Yeah.
And two, let's be real.
There's that round table with Dave Rubin and the others where Ben Shapiro was like, yeah, I wouldn't come to your wedding.
No, it wasn't even a round table. I think it was an interview on Dave's show where Ben Shapiro's like, no, I wouldn't come to your wedding. And Dave's like, oh, well, yeah, I respect your religious beliefs. It's
a clown show.
Oh my God, it's crazy. I'm missing when we were talking about CRT.
Yeah.
CRT really fell off.
You know, we would have episodes where we're like, yeah, guys, it's another tax episode. We're talking about legislation, but now it's all
guys.
just... You know, last episode we had a break.
Build back better.
We gave you all a break last week from the transphobia news, the anti-LGBTQ news, and that was fun. You know, we had a good time, but we knew what was coming this week. Aside from like the Trump indictment stuff, which of course we'll talk about, but we knew that there was lots of transphobia.
It's back with a vengeance.
Yeah,
especially
back after 7 days.
Especially because Joe Biden and the people at the White House had the audacity to have the pride flag front and center with the American flag flanking it.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I think it was kind of actually a heat move, though.
Who fucking cares about the flag?
Yeah,
like, come on, like
we put it on swimsuits. Trump has bastardized versions of the flag that he sells to his audience. Like nobody cares.
Like underpinning all of this discourse is like, you don't actually care about the flag, or you're a fucking nerd who has like bad views. You know what I mean? You're not like a cool nerd, like a nerd who likes comics and does stuff like that. You're a weird nerd who is actually harming minority
danger to
groups.
society.
A danger to society. Yeah. God, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
I'm sick of it. Let's get into the episode. Welcome back to Head in the Office, everybody. We have a loaded episode for you today. So much news to talk about. We got the Trump indictment, as I mentioned. We got a SCOTUS decision, some election news we got to talk about, and so much more.
SCOTUS season. It's heating up. It's heating up, baby.
Yeah. We got a lot planned for today's episode, but before we get into it, as always, I'm going to get down on my hands and knees and beg Just absolutely beg. Scream to the gods above.
I'm begging. I'm pleading. I'm at my wit's end, really.
I might even make a deal with the devil if I can get more of you to go check out the Patreon.
Desperate.
Patreon.com/headintheofficepod. It's in the description. You can just click the link. You can just humor us, look at it, maybe consider signing up. And then if you do, if you sign up into one of our tiers, you might be able to get early access to all of our episodes. Exactly. And that's a good benefit.
You might be able to join, the Sunday sermon and get access to the gospel.
It's happening right now.
3 days before you would. The Wednesday Weenies
Precisely.
As you've so aptly called yourselves.
You can also check out the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Discord. It's all down there in the description. It really helps us. Leave a like and a comment if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Share with your friends, and we'll love you forever. Intimately, not parasocially.
Got to.
Also, if you want to support the show, you could always leave us a 5-star review to read on the show on Apple Podcasts.
We got a couple today. We could kick
we always appreciate it.
We could kick it off with Perfection by Fishbones9.
Okay, go for it.
Thanks, guys. I just started your podcast, and I'm in love. I found you guys on TikTok. I enjoy your commentary and agree with your points of view. Thank you.
Of course you do.
Thank you.
I think we're well argued. If I'm sticking with my promise of humility, I think our positions are well argued, well articulated.
Yeah, if I'm to humble myself, we're really just the best.
I think I have a command of the issues. You know what I'm saying?
If I'm to be humble about it, I think I really just have a leading voice in the space.
Yes. I think I'm a thought leader on the left. I don't know about you guys. Our next one is from Julian Franklin, an amazing leftist podcast. Hey guys, huge fan of the show. I'm a socialist that is currently deployed overseas and love listening to the pod to unwind and relax in my free time. Thanks for giving me the ammunition I need, not in a literal sense, I hope, every week to de-radicalize my squad mates in a funny and reasonable way. Keep up the great work, comrades. Much love from the troops. I'm guessing de-radicalize in the pulling to the left sense.
Bro is one of the 14 people in Ukraine right now. He's watching this in Kiev, going crazy.
That's good. I didn't know we had. I didn't know that our woke mind virus, our mutation of it, had infected the U.S. military.
Hito's serving right now. Hito's joined up.
Yeah. Hito's serving the nation.
Go Hito.com, basically.
We serve in multiple ways, I will say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. On to the next one. We have fantastic in-depth political podcast by Chill Cascade.
Okay.
Finally, after searching for so long, I found a podcast that features such underrepresented voices like mine, cishet white guy STEM major.
Ooh,
in all seriousness, that's right. It's an underserved group right here.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, these guys are fantastic at dissecting the noise we hear every day in this insane political hellscape and cutting right to the heart of the issue, which is extremely helpful in understanding the most important underlying implications of the news every week. Coupled with the application of actual political theory,
oh my God.
I feel like I get more and more indoctrinated every day, as you should. Seriously, you can tell the passion is there when you listen. Thank you for guiding me into my political freak era and with the incredible insights and perspective these two good boys provide. Oh my goodness, bro.
Oh my God.
Good boys. I can now annoy my friends and family more effectively. Big ups for my fellow Big Ten student in Indy. Go Boilers. P.S. I triple dog dare you guys to read this on the pod. And if you do, we did. I promise I will shed my Wednesday weenie chains and join the Sunday supremacist cabal.
You heard
it here first, really.
The application of political theory. That's what we're known for.
And honestly, the Sunday supremacists are the ones that heard it first.
Exactly. That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Our last review for today here is from Loney/Lark4261. These guys are the complete package. I stumbled across Hito on TikTok a few weeks ago and had to upgrade to the Sunday supremacist almost immediately. I've been binging my way through the now 100 episodes. This is 101.
That's right.
And I'm fearing the day I run through them all. That said, I can't really explain how much I enjoy the boys' ability to deliver hot takes on our capitalist hellscape with just enough humor to keep me laughing instead of crying. The pod is always informative and has rapidly driven me even further left than I was before when I started listening. If you're on the fence about being a patron, quit being a Wednesday weenie and sign up for the Patreon. It'll be the best $10 you ever spend monthly, of course.
That's right. That's crazy. We're rapidly approaching having more Hito content than there is One Piece content on the internet. And that's crazy. If you know, you know. We got one from Instagram.
All right, let's go.
From Weed Thief 69. Along with the entire population of Minnesota, I've been forced to listen to Hito via ham radio by Governor Tim Walz of communist Minnesota, thus spreading the radical leftist ideas of two cishet white males statewide. Congratulations, boys. You did it. With much love and solidarity, Weed Thief 69 and Minnesotans.
Oh, thank you so much, Weed Thief 69. Minnesotans? Isn't Minnesota the communist place now?
Yeah.
Minnesota's doing communism.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shout out communism. Shout out Minnesota. Thank you all for the beautiful reviews.
Shout out cishet white guys.
If you, exactly, underrepresented group.
No, nobody talks about them.
Yeah, ever. I think End Wokeness would agree with you on that one. If you guys want your review read on the show, just head over to Apple Podcasts and leave it. Or if you have to, Instagram DMs are always open.
Shit, bro. If you want to hear those reviews a little bit early, hit the Patreon. You know what's good.
Exactly. Because Patreon always knows what we're up to earlier than everybody else.
They do.
And we got some stuff planned on the way.
Yeah.
You want to know about it.
Sometimes we do.
I want to know about it, so you'll want to know about it.
I also want to know about it.
I wouldn't want to be, me personally, I wouldn't want to be left out. That's all I'm going to say.
I wouldn't want to be out of the loop. You know what I'm saying? It's like in-group, out-group dynamics. And I want to be in the in-group.
Well, precisely. You want FOMO? Really? You want to be left out? Wow, you're not hanging out. You just couldn't make it to the hangout? That's really sad.
What if the fucking internet just stops, on a Tuesday? Mm-hmm. You're done. You're not getting that episode.
Exactly. You never know when another debt ceiling crisis is
People
coming.
on Sunday did, though. All I'm saying.
Precisely. First piece of news we need to talk about is something that we knew was coming for a little while, but it kind of hit us like a bus.
Pretty big one.
Yeah, it was a big one. It's a pretty significant news story that we got to talk about. You all know what we're talking about. It's the Trump indictment.
President Donald Trump.
We've known he was under investigation for taking documents from the White House to his residence in Mar-a-Lago without permission when he wasn't supposed to be doing it. Throwback to the FBI raid in August 2022 that we covered in our episode titled Defund the FBI. Because that was a fun little narrative we got out of that news story from
It's still going on. It's still going on. It's gas.
Yeah. Well, just last week, a federal indictment of Donald Trump was unsealed, detailing exactly what crimes he's being accused of in terms of the classified documents. And folks, it's not looking good.
My favorite,
really bad.
My favorite thing that he was formally accused of was sharing secrets, like highly classified secrets, of an invasion to, I think, Iran. Iran,
I think
with
it's a country
journalist.
A, but it's probably Iran.
Yeah, to a journalist with no security clearance. And then another one of my favorites that I read about was he showed a campaign staffer, maybe not a campaign staffer, just one of his staffers.
From a political action committee.
Yes, one of the Trump PACs. No security clearance. He showed them a map of U.S. military sites just across the globe and shared with them vulnerabilities of the United States and also where we have weaknesses in maybe getting invaded, where our weaknesses are militarily, and our plans for the future. Come on, brother. Come on.
So funny. It's so funny. He's just sharing state secrets with random people.
It's like he just pulls up to meetings and he's walking out. He's walking out these meetings with these huge packs, right? Millions of dollars on the line. He's hey, you want to see something sick?
And
hey, bro, you want to see something cool?
That's just what was in the indictment caught on tape. This dude has a horrible habit of just admitting to crimes on tape. And also, my favorite line out of all of this is he's showing, it might have been one of the people you mentioned or some other person he was showing classified information to, where he was like, I can't show this to anybody. Look at it. It's secret. Look at it. It's you just did, we got him, right? That's it.
He's so real for that, though.
He's so funny, dog. Oh my God.
He's so real for that.
It's as everyone predicted. It's just as stupid as everyone predicted. Yeah. He just wanted the clout. He wanted to be look at these secret information.
Come on, look at I'm so secret. I know all of this. I know all of this. Come look at me. Come look at me.
He admits he's it's secret. I'm not supposed to show you.
Look at it.
Don't get too close.
Oh, I'm not supposed to. Oh. What if I just dropped it right here though? Oh.
So in all, Trump is being charged with 37 felony counts. Now, this is from NPR, this list. It says one of them, or the first one, willful retention of national defense information. This is counts 1 to 31. And these are for documents that are being held at Mar-a-Lago, many of which improperly, as we'll talk about. There's just pictures of the documents in boxes, just in a bathroom.
Yeah, I was there.
Or just in a ballroom. Yeah, Gage was there.
I was there.
He posted the photo. Gage is actually the one that found them. Maybe planted them too. Who knows?
Maybe I was in the raid.
Yeah. The next one is conspiracy to obstruct justice. This is for Trump and an associate that seems to just be an accomplice in all of this. His name's something Nauta. Can't remember his first name. Yeah, but he's been described as a body man for Donald Trump. He was his valet or something.
Oh,
he had worked for him. I don't even know if he worked for him while Trump was in the White House or not, but he's been working for him for some time now.
I bet every single one of his staffers knows a handful of information that they shouldn't. Yeah, and I bet if they all got together, they could really piece together the United States' military capabilities.
The US government.
They could probably run it's just a constant drip feed to different people, and if they all got together and synthesized the information, they could put it together like a puzzle. Yeah. And then that puzzle would reveal a map of all our black sites across the globe.
He's also being charged with withholding a document or record. This is him hiding or moving boxes so that his attorneys specifically couldn't find them. He was misleading his attorneys during this whole thing, basically. Corruptly concealing a document or record, similar thing, hiding boxes, concealing a document in a federal investigation. This is him hiding documents and submitting false certificates to the FBI.
Nice.
That's illegal. Can't do that. Scheme to conceal, more hiding charges. And him and Nauta are both being charged with false statements and representations, lying to federal officers is basically what that is.
And it's like, it's just important to note that, like, those are the charges. Yeah. The charges really surround, like, okay, he knew, he admitted to knowing that he had classified documents. He refused to return these classified documents, and he went through a bunch of shenanigans to continue to hide and avoid returning these classified documents. Yeah. And I say that to bring up the narrative that accounts like End Wokeness, that I wish I never had to ever fucking talk about ever, which didn't know existed, are tweeting out and popularizing this narrative that, like, oh, well, they didn't go after Hillary Clinton, they didn't go after Joe Biden when they had classified documents, blah, blah, blah. What about Obama and his? It's like, okay.
Or even Mike Pence now,
okay,
right?
One, like, I can give you a little bit of leeway and say, like, yeah, they shouldn't have had them, but they also didn't lie about having them, and they didn't lie about not giving them back, and they didn't refuse to give them back on tape.
And they didn't plot. What I'm saying? They didn't plot with, like, their accomplices to lie and give a couple back and make it seem like they gave them all back, but not really, and hang on to a couple of them.
Exactly.
Like that's not what happened to Joe Biden.
It's like the theatrics of it all. Yeah. Like, that's what he's being charged. If he'd have just given them back, nothing would have happened.
Even so, like with End Wokeness or the other hooligans on the internet,
Kevin Sorbo.
If they want to argue that, oh, well, Joe Biden having documents, he deserves to get investigated, then that, to me, seems like an admission that they believe what Trump did was wrong, right? Yeah. They're saying what Joe Biden did was wrong, and I can get it, hypocrisy, criminal justice system not always applied evenly. If you want to take that stance, whatever. But in saying that, you are admitting that Donald Trump should be charged with something, right?
Yeah.
Because it can't be wrong for one person and not another. I mean, if that's the argument they want to, they're wholly inconsistent. They don't actually believe that.
If you want to take that, go ahead and charge Joe Biden. I don't care. Yeah. Like, I do not give a shit. That would be so funny. That'd be so cool to cover.
Might as well. I mean,
imagine they raid the White House.
As End Wokeness said, Western civilization is going down anyway. Might as well.
Yeah,
you know what
basically.
I mean? So in all, Trump faces decades upon decades in prison if he gets if any of these charges stick. It's going to be pretty bad. And folks, it's Joever. It's Joever. It's never been more Joever.
Never.
Yeah.
Not once.
A lot of these charges are related to the Espionage Act for reasons we'll explain in a moment, and we've already kind of alluded to. And the obstruction charges carry heavy sentences as well, because law and order. You know what I'm saying?
He's
I'm a law and order candidate.
Ironic, the law and order candidate, the guy out here under indictment of felony charges.
Yeah, exactly. And look, like as Gage already mentioned, and kind of vis-a-vis our episode from August last year, the problem here was that Trump was lying to the National Archives, refusing to give a lot of documents back, and that's bad enough as it is for him. But it gets really bad for Trump when we take a look at what's actually in the indictment. And I'm going to pull up a little screenshot that I took of it, because I think it's worth reading off exactly what happened here.
Oh,
and again,
sick.
It's kind of what we already joked about, but the exact text it's pretty damning. It's not good for him.
Okay.
So this is from the indictment. On 2 occasions in 2021, Trump showed classified documents to others as follows. In July 2021, Trump at a national golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, the Bedminster Club in parentheses, during an audio recorded meeting, again, audio recorded,
oh my God,
with a writer, a publisher, and 2 members of his staff, none of whom possessed a security clearance, Trump showed and described a plan of attack that Trump said was prepared for him by the Department of Defense and a senior military official. Trump told the individuals that the plan was highly confidential, secret. Trump also said, as president, I could have declassified that, and now I can't, but this is still a secret. So that was just him admitting on tape, like this audio recording. The second one.
Like, did he know he was being recorded?
I think so. I'm saying, like, he just admits to crimes. The second one is in August or September of 2021, at the Bedminster Club, Trump showed a representative of his political action committee who did not possess a security clearance, a classified map related to a military operation, and told that representative that he should not be showing it to the representative, that the representative should not get too close, as if being like a couple of feet closer makes it worse in terms of the sentence you're going to get when you're convicted. God. So that's straight from the horse's mouth, straight from the indictment document. So it's not looking good. It's really not looking good.
And that's like so far beyond just having classified documents. Because it's still, I feel like he still wouldn't have necessarily got charged this hard if he had just been refusing to give him back.
Oh, for sure.
This cat and mouse game. But it's the fact that he just gave out sensitive military secrets. When conservatives themselves love to bitch about that.
Oh yeah,
they love to bitch about any possible thing that the Chinese spy balloon, like that whole discourse. They love to bitch about any possible thing where they can say, "Well, China, you're letting gay people in the military, really." Really? This is why we're losing wars. This is a national security risk.
Yeah, that's why we lost in Afghanistan. Gay people in the military.
That's exactly what it was.
The reason.
Oh my God! But they don't bat an eye. They don't bat an eye when Trump is sharing sensitive state secrets.
They don't talk as much about national security as they used to, but it used to be a common line that like Democrats want to make us weaker on national security. Yeah. And here we have the front man for the Republican Party for the last, I don't know, what, 8 years at this point? More
Something
than that. The frontman for the Republican Party is just kind of giving away secrets of national security, giving away our intelligence,
really
sensitive intelligence marked top secret.
Oh,
like,
dude,
come on,
that'd be so sick.
Yeah.
God damn, he's so real, bro. He's so real.
He's just like me.
This is why he's the anti-establishment candidate.
The indictment also says, quote, the classified documents Trump stored in his boxes included information regarding defense and weapon capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries, United States nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attack, and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack. So kind of just laying it all out.
So good. I wish I knew. I wish I could have been the guy he told. I wouldn't even blown the whistle, nothing. I just want to know.
Well, I can't imagine actually being one of those guys, like, just because, like, Trump is doing this because he thinks he's, like, cool, right? He wants the clout. He's a dumb person. This is just what he wanted to do. But I got to believe that the people he's showing this stuff to, especially, like, journalists, know they're not supposed to be seeing it.
Oh, they have to.
And they got to just be shaking in their boots when this was happening. Like, oh, my God.
Can they get in trouble?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if it's sensitive enough, they're going to get, like, vaporized, right?
Like, they're going to get with the heart attack gun.
If it's top secret enough, like, charges won't be pressed against them, but they will be deleted.
It's going to get pressed against them.
Oh, yeah. The heart attack gun. Exactly.
Oh, no.
Now, of course, Republicans are attempting to frame Trump's now second indictment.
Yep.
They're trying to frame it as Joe Biden's political attack on Donald Trump, right? Joe Biden, it's a banana republic, and they're trying to persecute political enemies because Donald Trump's the most likely to beat Joe Biden in the 2024 election. The argument goes something like that. And as I've said before, I'll just repeat the same point. Is it political to indict Donald Trump? Yeah, probably. But it seems like he committed the crime. We got him on audio saying, look, this is secret. Look at it.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you can't not indict him. Mm-hmm. If there was no audio tapes, if it was just the little cat and mouse of like, I'm not going to give the documents back, then it's like, okay. Mm-hmm. But you got him on tape, dog. Like, that's you can't not.
Well, and it's like they call it a banana republic to come after political enemies. But of course, the alternative is doing nothing. And then it is really a banana republic because our political elites can commit any crime they want once they're out of office because pursuing them would mean it's too political.
And it's doing nothing when there's public knowledge that he indeed committed crimes.
Yeah.
Like, this was all public. The raid was pretty public. Like,
because of him, right?
Because of him. He made it. Like, he made everyone aware that he committed these crimes. Dude can't stop self-reporting. And it goes back to the election denial claims. Like, even when he's on the phone with fucking homeboy in Georgia.
Yeah, that one's still coming too.
That one's still he's talking, find me $13,000. Like, he can't help himself.
Yeah, that's also on recording. Like, any other criminal would be so much more careful and cautious about who they tell things to.
Fucking
but he
credit card scammers go through more work than this.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So is it a political attack? Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. But like, who cares, right? Because it seems like he committed the crime, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't really believe that Joe Biden's sitting behind a desk, thinking strategically about how he can get Donald Trump out of the race. I don't think that's happening at all.
No, absolutely not. I don't think the DOJ, I don't think Merrick Garland is sitting there like, oh yeah, this is what
Merrick Garland's probably pissed he's got to do anything about Trump anyway.
Yeah.
I know that dude doesn't want to.
No.
Because there's all of the January 6th shit that he's done nothing with. Because I don't think he wants to do it. But
I don't think
he has
cares.
No choice here.
He seems to legitimately be focused on things that conservatives have been complaining about while not like covering the things he's doing. Like, he has been legitimately focused on fighting fentanyl from coming across the borders.
Yeah.
A month or two ago, he delivered like formal charges to I think 2 pharmaceutical companies in China, a middleman in like Ecuador or some shit, and actual like cartel members who are known to traffic fentanyl. Like, he's actually fighting the things that conservatives care about. Like, I'm sick, bro.
Yeah. It also does bear repeating that Trump's lawyers, 2 of them, just left after they saw this indictment. They just quit. They're like, yeah, nope, I'm not doing
you're
it.
Fucked. Like, at that point, you're fucked. Because I bet they were top dollar lawyers too. But you know what? I don't know if I'm very confident in Trump's ability to pick legal counsel.
This is true.
After he picked Rudy and
Giuliani for years.
Sarah, no. The Kraken. Sidney Powell.
The Kraken, Kraken. She was the Kraken that got released.
Yeah. And Sidney Powell, like those, they weren't the best. I bet they were worried about getting disbarred like Julie did.
Yeah. I know the lawyer he has for this case, I think, is the same one from the Stormy Daniels case. So he's double dipping for this one. But I think the ones that quit, like some people were like, oh, are the attorneys in on it too? Maybe, but I think he probably just like had them on retainer. And wanted to use them again, and then they saw the indictment. They're like, "Yeah, dog, yeah, I'm not getting mixed up in this." And also, like it seems like a lot of Trump's lawyers end up getting mixed up in his crimes. You know what I mean? So I don't blame them for wanting to get the hell out of there.
Was Michael Cohen one of Trump's lawyers?
I think so, right?
That what that thing was? Didn't he just testify recently?
Didn't Michael Cohen go to prison for what he did alongside? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? He did like a year or two.
Yeah, but to be fair, Trump probably does have a case against Michael Cohen. At least a couple of his lawyers, because some of them did like.
I'm sure they're all dirty people.
Oh, yeah. Trump's got some bad lawyers. If he ends up going to jail for this, that's why. Not because he committed the crime. He got screwed by his lawyer.
100%. He got screwed by his lawyer. He got screwed by Merrick Garland and the Justice Department and their weaponized political attack against him.
Exactly. That's why in the Inflation Reduction Act, Joe Biden wants so many dollars to go to the IRS. They're really just funneling it to the FBI to get Trump.
Oh, exactly. I'm a Trump indictment truther. I know what's going on.
I'm a law and order candidate. You know what I'm saying?
I can see through. I question everything. Yeah. Really.
Yeah. So Trump is set to appear in a Miami court on Tuesday, which is a day before this episode launches for the general public, the Wednesday weenies and so on. So we'll probably get a lot of news. We might not get too much news out of that.
The news won't come out before Wednesday. I feel like the news would come out in like the coming weeks.
Especially because it's going to be a closed door. Like no one's going to get to go in and like see what happens.
Corny.
There's not going to be any videos. There's not going to be any audio. We might get some court sketches
with my tax dollars.
We could get some court sketches. Those are usually pretty cool. But I don't think we'll get much out of this because they're going to keep this tight until it is like ready to go. But he does have to show up in court again.
Court sketches are pretty sick. Yeah. Hope we get some like dope, like they always look like cool watercolor paintings too.
We can just make ones. We could just like type into I don't know, DALL-E image generator and be like Trump's court sketch while he's in court.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah. That's original art that we created.
That's right. We didn't say it wasn't stolen and extrapolated from other artists.
We have an original take on AI art over here.
Yeah, I have an awesome take on AI. Like I have a very unique take.
So we've covered the front runner in the GOP primary.
Yeah.
I think it's time to talk more about some other candidates that are populating the field for president.
Who are the people that are lagging behind a little bit, but still have a chance?
Yeah, we actually have a nice, I don't know, a nice smorgasbord of different candidates we got to talk about from around the political spectrum. But I think as we'll get through this section, as we'll thoroughly interrogate their beliefs, we'll find that they're not that far apart. At least functionally, in practicality.
In what they're doing.
Exactly. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of election talk. The first one we got to talk about is Nikki Haley. She had a town hall with CNN, similar to the Trump town hall, but a lot less people watching because she's not important.
Yeah, because she sucks. So.
And when I say less people watching, I include myself in that because I did not watch it.
Neither did I.
And I'm not going to, but we're serious political commentators, so we got to cover it at least a little bit. A couple of takeaways from the articles I read up on it afterwards. She refused to give an answer on abortion. The clip here is actually really funny. I don't have this clip. We got a clip later on of an answer she gave that we should talk about. But the clip that she had for on an abortion ban, Jake Tapper was the one who was moderating. He asked her about 6 weeks, because that's like the Republican threshold right now, right? 6 weeks. And she said that she will give an answer on that once Joe Biden answers if he's going to allow abortions up to 32 weeks. So she just dodged the question.
I don't get it, because he is? Or what does she mean by that?
His stance is pretty clearly restore Roe. I think that's pretty obvious.
His stance is very clearly abortion should be the law of the land. You should be able to get an abortion.
Yeah.
So I think he's answered it.
I don't think he's ever said, let's do it to 32 weeks. I don't think he's ever indicated he'd be open to 32 weeks. It just sounds like a lie to me.
Or is it was 32 weeks? Didn't Roe say that you couldn't do anything before 32 weeks?
Well, Roe didn't say it basically let the states decide what they wanted to do, except the first trimester, everyone could get an abortion.
Yeah.
And then it let the states decide for second and third trimester what they wanted to do beyond that.
32 weeks.
That's almost birth.
I was going to say, that's a really long time, actually. I think that's 8 months?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think actually before KCV Planned Parenthood, I could be wrong on this. I'm only just speaking with a law degree or whatever. KCV before KCV Planned Parenthood, I think it was viability was the cutoff, and then the rules changed after that. Okay. I don't know exactly the legal jargon here, but it was legal before. I know that.
Oh yeah, I was thinking it was 32 weeks. That's crazy.
That's like almost birth.
What the fuck is she doing? Well, is she trying to hit the infanticide angle?
I think the line is like, oh well, they want to allow abortion up till birth and even after.
Even after even after birth, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, so she just wouldn't give an answer on the abortion ban. She said she wants to defend Ukraine, though, which is a hot take in the Republican field. Yeah. Not really expected, especially since Ron came out against Ukraine. Trump has been saying he can negotiate a peace deal in a day.
Exactly. He said the moment he's back in office, Putin will stop because they're good friends. They're good buddies.
Also, talking about Republicans, I saw that Ron DeSantis said something. One of his new lines of attack, which I think is incredibly weak, has been that you want to elect a candidate who can be there for 8 full years. That's his take, because Trump can only get one more term because he's already president for one term. So he's saying you want someone who can be there for 8 full years. Trump can't do that.
He already did 4, my guy.
Yeah, well, the idea is like you want someone who you can elect twice. You want to elect me once and then again. You can't do that for Trump though. So you want someone who can be there for 8 full years.
Yeah, but like this is his choice.
Well, that's kind of why, because it's like, and then Trump responded by saying like, "Oh, you need 8 years to get it done. I can get it done in 6 months."
Oh, that's so sick. That's so good.
He said, I can get everything fixed in 6 months. That's all I need.
Oh my God.
It's actually perfect response. Ron is so done. It's Joever for Ron.
I'd have been fucking mauling if I was Ron.
Because Ron and his team were like cooking up like, how can we convince people that they got to vote for me over Donald Trump if we're like similar on all these policy issues?
At least 2 strategy meetings about this.
Light bulb above the head saying, I can be in there for 2 full terms. Trump can't do that. He already got elected once. He can't get 2 full terms.
This is a really good angle because then I can be there to make change to the future and make sure that I can monitor these things and stop them as they arise.
He's like, this will convince people, right? Because they're always thinking about who's going to be the next president, who's going to be the next person for the GOP. And then Trump responds with, oh, you need 8 years? Give me half a year. That's all I need. And everything's fixed. So perfect.
He's so good, bro. I hope he loses again for like obvious reasons, but I hope he comes back for a 3rd run.
Yeah. Just out of nowhere.
Just like for fun, you know what I mean? Just so you can
prison.
Fucking throwing out these one-liners. Oh, maybe hear me out. He goes to prison for these indictments after the election happens. After the election happens and he loses,
so we can get him on the debate stage.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he's running his 3rd campaign. Get me elected so I can pardon myself because I don't deserve to be here.
I think he's already kind of running on that. He will pardon himself, right? Like that's gonna happen.
Oh, for sure.
I bet Ron DeSantis would pardon him as well, and maybe even Joe Biden will commit to pardoning him too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Back to Nikki Haley though, she said that entitlement reform has to happen, and this is code for I want to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. By the way. And then there was one take on wokeness that I thought was particularly insane.
Oh, no.
So let me boot up this clip. It's about a minute long. You'll hear Jake Tapper's voice first. And it's pretty egregious. It's pretty bad. For Nikki Haley, I was shocked. So let's take a listen.
Okay.
Woke, the word woke, used to be used by progressives to talk about an awareness of inequities and historical inequities. But obviously it means something else to conservatives criticizing it. What does it mean to you? How do you define woke?
There's a lot of things. I mean, you want to start with biological boys playing in girls' sports. That's one thing. The fact that we have gender pronoun classes in the military now. I mean, all of these things that are pushing what a small minority want on the majority of Americans, it's too much. It's too much. I mean, the idea that we have biological boys playing in girls' sports, it is the women's issue of our time. My daughter ran track in high school. I don't even know how I would have that conversation with her. How are we supposed to get our girls used to the fact that biological boys are in their locker rooms? And then we wonder why a third of our teenage girls seriously contemplated suicide last year. We should be growing strong girls, confident girls. Then you go and you talk about building a strong military. How are you going to build the morale in a strong military when you're doing gender pronoun classes? Why is it that...
Why are they clapping for the gender pronoun classes?
And then the crowd claps it up, right?
Who is CNN getting for these town halls?
I don't know, but it's like... To be clear, this is Nikki Haley saying that there is a high rate of suicidal ideation among young girls because of trans people. Yeah. That's the line of argument she
because
took.
of all of the women in like Oklahoma or Kansas or wherever that may have contemplated suicide in high school. That's because of the one trans person that lives in the state.
Yeah,
that's
because of the one trans athlete that wasn't even on their team.
Like that's how disrespectful just to so many different groups of people. That one statement, like that's crazy.
Like, don't get me wrong, high suicidal ideation among teenagers in general, huge problem right now in the United States. Absolutely huge,
non-trivial issue.
Middle school, high school, big issue. But to blame it on the existence of trans people is a unique form of fucking evil.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Yeah, no, suicidal ideation amongst teenagers, non-trivial issue.
Yeah,
one fucking teenager in the entire state who wants to play sports in the gender that they identify with. Yeah. Trivial issue, let me tell you. Oh my God.
Especially because every time we talk about a trans sports ban for like high school, for example, it's always like, oh yeah, there's 3 of them in the whole state.
Yep.
Or in the Utah one that we covered however many, it was like a year ago at this point, you're like, oh yeah, there's one.
Starting one person.
One person.
That wasn't even like getting ready to be like a college athlete. Wasn't even in that conversation. Just playing sports for fun.
Yeah.
God, dude, I can't. It's like, it makes me think, right? Because the trans women in sports thing is like the one transgender issue where if you look at Gallup polls like surrounding the whole breadth of different issues selected the topic, like puberty blockers, whether or not they should exist or not, bathroom bills, that's the one issue the public seems to actually like agree shouldn't happen.
Right.
Like that's the one thing that the general public as a whole, the majority of people think that there shouldn't be trans women in sports.
No doubt.
But which is stupid already for reasons we've detailed so many fucking times. Conservative commentators or people running can't just stop at hitting that point. Like they can't think strategically enough to stop there. They have to go on and try and create like their version of the culture war. She goes and ties it to that. They have to go on. They can't just stop. They have to go on and say pronoun classes in the military. Like just stop there, dude. Like what are you doing?
Well, I think Nikki Haley is doing the classic try to appeal to everybody and end up appealing to nobody kind of tactic. I think that's what this is because she's got the wokeness that she's talking about from Ron DeSantis and I guess some of the other Vivek Ramaswamy wrote a fucking book about it.
He's a couple
She's
books
got the wokeness, of course, and she's got the kind of classic Republican, we need entitlement reform. She's got the like, neo-conservative war hawk angle where we need to, well, not even war hawk angle, but because that's not necessarily war hawk to want to fund Ukraine, but just generally like we need to promote American dominance globally, that kind of perspective. I think she's trying to do everything. But to your point with transports generally being, people generally being pretty conservative about that, yeah, no doubt. And that's why I hate talking about this issue because the idea that gender is some kind of biological essential thing to your character and who you are and what you can do is so heavily ingrained in people's minds. And the issue of sports generally, like even taking a broader view of it, sports is incredibly complex as a science. And I'd rather leave all of this up to people who actually study it.
No, absolutely.
Because it's something that like average people don't need to concern themselves with how sports are run. And there's already regulation for trans people participating in collegiate sports, for example. So like it's an incredibly complicated issue that people don't fully understand. And because of how we are taught about gender throughout all of our life and just the cultural context around gender, like, yeah, absolutely. People are going to default to a conservative position, even if it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and it's also just like an incredibly niche issue still.
Yeah,
for sure. There was like what? There was Leah Thomas, and then there was a runner. And those are the only two that I can really think of.
Yeah.
That have been like big names and like that conservatives have picked up. And again, the only reason I know about these people is because conservatives can't stop bitching about them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's those two.
I feel like I've been hearing about trans women in sports for probably longer than like this current moral panic's been going on.
For sure.
Like I remember my freshman year of college, I was in a world politics class, and for some reason, trans people participating in sports came up.
Of course.
I have no idea why this happened, but it did. And this was before I was paying that close of attention to politics as I am now.
All roads lead back to trans women in sports.
Yeah, that's actually the defining issue. Marx was wrong. But like that, it's come up before. I'd heard it before as well. And it's almost like conservatives are they know kind of of where the public is on this, and they're trying to use it as a foot in the door to justify further intervention in the lives of non-conforming people.
Because that's really what it is. It's a foot in the door. It's the one issue that they have, like, culturally. It's the one trans issue that they actually have a majority of people in, and they use it as a wedge to be able to get to everything else, right? Because the bathroom bill thing doesn't really work. Like, as much as they hammer it in, and as much as it works with their, like, the small fraction of their base that it works with, it doesn't work broadly if you actually look at the polling. The issues of transgender people existing that you see accounts like End Wokeness constantly complaining about, most people are completely fine with it.
No, yeah, we've never been more tolerant, right?
Do not care. Yeah. It's just so weird how they're taking these things, and they're going so fucking far right with it. I don't get it. And it's like, maybe this is a tired point. Probably completely wrong here, but it feels like we're getting to the point where it's like these issues are either going to be make or break. Like, come this next election cycle, they're going to be make or break, kind of like how I feel that CRT was with the midterms and how abortion was. They're still talking about it, but they're not really talking about it that much anymore after they lost so hard.
The one thing that kind of worries me about that is leading up to the 2022 midterms, I think they recognized that their stance on abortion was a losing one.
Yeah.
Because nobody liked their stance on abortion.
And they instantly pivoted.
And we had elections in August of the same year where states were affirming the right to an abortion, conservative states like 60 to 40%, right? So I think they already knew it was bad, but they haven't really slowed down on this at all. I don't think it's a winning message, to be fair. But I think that they're sticking with it. I don't know what else they would shift to, right?
I just think they can't help themselves when it comes to some of these issues. Like,
and even the thing we said before we started recording, Trump like knows where this is going.
Oh my God, that's I was gonna bring that quote up later, but I have a Trump quote. He, after his indictment, he was giving a speech at, I think, like this Republican, some big Republican like donor thing, and somewhere
like a campaign stop kind of thing.
Kind of like a campaign stop, kind of not like just like a Republican convention, nerd convention, really type of thing. Horrible person.
The
convention.
KKK meeting, the local Klan meeting.
The local Klan meeting. He was giving a speech, and in his speech, he said he started talking about like trans issues. He said something like, if I'm elected president, I'm gonna defund any school who talks about critical race theory, which is a weird thing to hit now.
Yeah,
like that's very much a relic of like his election. You know
sounds
what I mean?
Well, yeah, but it sounds like a stump speech kind of thing to do.
100%. And then he said, any school that teach critical race theory and transgender insanity, that's a quote, and other inappropriate racially, political, and sexual content to children. The remarks brought a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And then Trump couldn't help himself. He said, quote, "It's amazing how strongly people feel about that. You see, I'm talking about cutting taxes. People go like that." And then he like lackadaisically clapped his hands like there was a lethargic response from the crowd. And then he says, quote, "I talk about transgender, everyone goes crazy. Who would have thought 5 years ago you didn't know what the hell it was?" Like he admitted it.
He's
like,
so real
he's
for
giving
that.
the game away, and he's real for that. Like, and he's the only one that can do that. Like Ron DeSantis can't go on the stage and talk about like, it's really kind of crazy how nobody was talking about transgender issues 5 years ago, but now everybody is.
Yeah.
Like, he can't do that, and it's because Trump's so fucking dumb. Like,
yeah, and they'll make the argument that it's like, oh, well, in the last 5 years, Democrats and liberals have started shoving it down our throats more. It's like, no, nobody has.
No, they haven't. It hasn't really changed.
I always think of the statistic where there was like some study done on Facebook where it showed that right-wing accounts are the ones posting about trans people infinitely more than left-wing accounts or neutral news sources. It's always them. Like, they're the reason everybody thinks that trans people are like, or not everybody, but some people think that trans people are like numbered in the tens of millions in this country. Like, come on now.
It's just because anytime someone in any minority does something wrong, or I don't know, maybe even not even necessarily wrong, but just like, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
They can't help but post about it and connect that to their status of being a minority.
Yeah. And they always got to make it seem as though the number of trans people, or I guess LGBTQ people in this country as a whole, is like some kind of hulking number that can command our political institutions.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Big transgender
like,
is after your kids.
Like, yeah, 1% of the population is trans according to the numbers that I've seen. And that's like not a trivial number of people, of course. Like, they deserve political enfranchisement. They deserve rights and consideration,
like
of course.
3.5 million people.
But to say that they can control any institution or corporation or whatever is kind of fucking insane.
Well, I don't know. I beg to differ. The trans lobby is insane right now.
I've seen so many arguments like that. I guess we'll get to that like right now, because the next guy we've got to talk about is RFK.
Okay. All right, cool.
Joe Biden's got some fierce competition in his primary. This dude, RFK Jr., if you don't know who he is, I don't blame you. But RFK Jr. is the son of JFK's brother, the JFK that was the president, by the way, John F. Kennedy. And RFK was the former Attorney General of the United States, RFK Sr., that is. Now, his son, RFK Jr., is running for president on the Democratic side.
Billionaire fail son?
I don't know if he's a billionaire.
Or fail son, like rich kid.
Yeah, and he's kind of fucking crazy. That's what I've gathered from the things I've seen on him. He recently held a Twitter space last week with Elon Musk. I don't think it was even to kick off his campaign. He just did it because he wanted to.
Just for fun. Ron did it. He's like, oh, he did a really good job.
This went well. I think, yeah. He did it with Ron DeSantis. Had many less people, obviously. Didn't get nearly as many as Ron did. Didn't break the internet, as it were.
Yeah, like Ron did.
He claims to be a Democrat, of course, but throughout his history as a political interlocutor, he's pushed anti-vaccine conspiracy theories. That's his big one. He said that the COVID-19 pandemic was planned to give Pfizer more profit.
Oh, the plandemic.
He's likened lockdowns in the U.S. to Nazi Germany. That was one of his big quotes, I think, back in like 2020. So he's pretty crazy.
That's so sick.
RFK is a pretty crazy guy. And he's a conspiracy guy, obviously, but he does register in polling because of his last name, I'm going to guess.
It's 100% because his last name. It's got to be. It's got to be.
But he's kind of a conspiracy gate kind of guy, a conspiracy bait kind of guy. And the question is like, does he have he's not going to beat Biden, of course, right? Like Biden's got the primary on lock pretty much. Does he have appeal though to like your average American?
No.
I kind of think so.
You think so?
In a way that is really annoying to like me as someone who's like actually on the left, not this guy who's
as someone
pretty clearly
who
a right-wing grifter. Yeah. So the thing is like the issue with candidates like RFK, outside of them being crazy, is they touch on really very real issues without actually interrogating the cause of it, right? Like, does Pfizer make tons of money? Yes.
Yeah.
Every healthcare company makes tons of money.
Are there issues with Big Pharma? Absolutely.
Absolutely. But that's how capitalism works, right? Is that these companies get to make enormous amounts of money off of our physical need for survival. And they also get government contract subsidies, et cetera. So they make billions of dollars off of our need to survive, obviously. But the problem is that candidates like RFK Jr. and other conspiracy-minded people will inject that kind of conspiracy into their ideology and theories as a way to like single out companies like Pfizer or people like Bill Gates and claim there's like this larger plot to deceive people when in reality that's just how the system works. It's working as intended.
Yeah.
And my problem, and the more sinister part of all this, is that it turns real structural critiques of the economy that people like us have into just culture war issues, where it's just red versus blue again. And to be honest, when it comes to people like RFK Jr., you're one step away from just saying it's the Jews without any real structural critique.
Oh, 100%. And exactly, there's no structural critique. There's no solutions that they have. They just want a virtue signal about Big Pharma because people understand from issues of the Sacklers that Big Pharma can be very bad sometimes. It's just a virtue signal. They don't actually want to do anything to hurt profits. Conservatives love to come in and look at any industry that's for profit, and if it can be attached to minorities, gay people, any of their political goals, they'll say that the profit is bad. And it's going to put me on a tangent to talk about the Matt Walsh Twitter thread.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing.
It's the same exact premise, right? So Matt Walsh has been teasing all Pride Month after he dropped What is a Woman on Twitter for free and the whole entire planet viewed it, you know what I'm saying? He's been teasing that he's got something big coming. He's got something big that's gonna blow the lid off of big transgender and the transgender grooming lobby, and it's gonna blow the whole fucking house down, right?
He said the alphabet mafia has had it too good for too long. They're coming down.
Alphabet mafia is going crazy.
Yeah.
The LGBTQ ABCDIA plus AFG LMNOP.
Yeah. That's a quote.
They need to be stopped.
Yeah.
And so he finally dropped his bombshell Twitter thread. And what it was is he had like one of his managers or staffers or one of the people under him go undercover to chop his balls off, as Matt Walsh phrased it. And he just went and he had some meetings with like, not a therapist, but like a group that helps trans people get their reassignment surgeries. Yeah. And he was like, well, he made sure that he didn't fit the criteria for gender dysphoria, but they still said they'd give him a diagnosis for gender dysphoria because insurance wouldn't cover it unless he had that diagnosis. So they lied about the diagnosis. It's like, yeah, but you pointed them that way so that they could lie about the diagnosis. And then you were intentionally vague and weird about the criteria that you meant to get that diagnosis. But even if you came through and like I can accept that they were willingly able to lie about the gender dysphoria diagnosis. I can accept that. Hear me out, right? So that you could get the reassignment surgery that you needed and get it paid for by insurance because this shit is expensive. That was his whole entire critique. He's like, big trans, these transgender health. These transgender healthcare firms are coming through and they're profiting off of these kids and people's reassignment surgeries. So if they're profiting off it, they have an incentive to get people to want more. So that's why they're dishing out and so willing to dish out all these fake diagnoses. And it's like, okay, sure, that looks really damning when you look at it. But then you look at any other healthcare industry.
Entire fucking infrastructure in this country. That's how it works.
Therapy.
Yeah.
If you want to get your insurance to cover therapy, your therapist is going to put down a diagnosis. Even if you don't have it, they're going to say anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
They're not going to prescribe anything.
Even if you don't fit the exact word for word diagnosis.
If you don't fit the DSM-5 diagnosis for depression, like you wouldn't fit the DSM-5, maybe wouldn't fit the DSM-5 diagnosis for gender dysphoria, your therapist is going to put that shit down, depression, anxiety, OCD, whatever, so that insurance will cover it for you. So you don't have to pay out of pocket. That's how it works. Doctors routinely will tell insurance companies that they're treating you for something that they're not, so that they can go through an off-label use of a medicine.
Yeah.
Right, I'm talking to my doctor right now. We're trying a new treatment for my muscle disease, and I had a prior authorization issue. I can almost guarantee that he's going to go to the insurance company and say, "Oh, actually, we're trying to work on this issue."
Yeah,
that's not necessarily what we're working on, but we're doing the off-label use.
Yeah, well, no, and that's exactly it because
it's a condemnation of the whole industry.
There's all kinds of medications that might help you out, but that can't be prescribed necessarily for the diagnosis you have, and your doctor or whoever's helping you will be like, "Oh, well, let's give you this so the insurance will help out." That's how the system works.
That's always how it is. And you all have gone through this.
The fact that they are so inconsistent with their consideration of how healthcare works in this country means they just want to single this out because it's associated with trans people.
Yeah.
And also, I loved the expose, quote unquote, that they did. Because the dude calling is an adult, right? It's not a child trying to get sex reassignment surgery or anything like that. And he purposefully lied to the person he was talking to, and it's like, of course you can tell them anything, and if you lie to them purposefully, of course you're gonna get what you consider like a wrong diagnosis.
And
or
it's
something.
also like he lied in so many weird ways too. Like he lied about like having the gender dysphoria to get his foot in the door. And then he like backtracked on those lies to see if they'd still go through with the diagnosis. Yeah. Like you're also like a fucking adult, dog.
Yeah. And they also said, they claimed that whoever they were talking to didn't fully outline what the procedure would do. And if you listen to the clip, the person talking calmly explains what would happen, like exactly what would happen and what they wouldn't be able to do with their body in the future, etc. Yeah. Like it's all there. None of it is damning.
I was just also
if anything,
surprised.
It's like a positive sign for our health infrastructure or for how we treat gender affirming care in this country based on how comprehensive that person's response was.
Yeah, and honestly, their willingness to give them the diagnosis so insurance would cover it because these are treatments that just like help people, and no person's just gonna go fucking do this.
Yeah.
And if you want to say, I'm sure you could point to like, I don't know, 3, 5 maybe fucking doctors who have done some bad things related to trans care, right? Who have coerced somebody into getting a surgery. But you know what? Regular doctors do that shit all the time. There are just bad doctors that exist. There are bad surgeons. There are bad practitioners who push you into treatments that may not be helpful. Used to be a whole issue with like pharmaceutical representatives going and paying doctors to prescribe their drugs. Like these are things that are just issues with the industry as a whole. But when you only pretend that it's an issue with the trans part of it, it's very pointed. And I was honestly personally offended that he thought that this was the bombshell that it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was obviously, 1, offended because he's a transphobic bigot.
Yeah.
But 2, I was just offended because he got my hopes up.
That's what I'm saying. I thought something fun was going to happen.
Like, I thought there was going to be something where I'm going to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I have to do some research in order to dismantle it, because I'm going to be able to dismantle it because it's coming from Matt Walsh. I didn't think it was going to be a thing that I could read while I'm waiting to, like, take a fucking piss test and then instantly respond to, you know? Like, oh my God, he sucks.
And if your deeper problem is with the profit motive and the health insurance industry,
a solution for
boy,
you.
do I have the solution for you. You're not going to like it, but that is the solution. I know how to remove the profit motive. It's all single payer healthcare.
We can fix this. We can fix this.
Yeah, government-funded healthcare, just like every other developed country on the planet. I think that might be the move.
God, what a fucking what a guy Matt Walsh is.
Absolute dummy.
Back to the election.
Yeah. We do have one more candidate that we got to talk about that's announced from another party. You may be thinking, another party? You talked about a Democrat. You talked about a Republican.
Whoa.
There's third parties in this country.
Is it the Freedom Party? Andrew Yang's?
It's not the Libertarian Party.
Really? Not the
No, the Forward Party. That's Andrew
the Forward
Yang.
Party. That's right.
Yeah, not the Green Party.
Not the Green Party.
No, this is from the People's Party. It's Cornell West who has announced he is running for president in the People's Party. Cornell West, if you don't know him, he's been an activist for like basically his entire life.
You've probably seen a Cornell West clip. Like if you like do politics or like involved on politics on the internet, you've definitely seen Cornell West.
And to be clear, at the start of this section, I do think Cornell West believes what he says about like equity and fighting for marginalized groups, that kind of thing. But spoiler alert, I think People's Party is a grift. I don't think it's like a real serious thing.
Generally, from what I've seen, he's had some good takes, but I don't know enough about him to say whether or not that he's like solid, like a Bernie guy. You know, like Bernie, I can say Bernie is solid. Right. There are some issues that he may be a little weaker on, but he's a solid dude overall. I don't know enough about this guy to say that.
Yeah, and it's like the problem is that People's Party is a third party, obviously, and we can talk about the structural issues with third parties in this country in a moment. But broadly, I don't think they actually support leftist values because I've seen some transphobic takes out of them. The classic like this is an attack on cis women line when it comes to like more inclusive language for trans people or whatever it may be. They've also had some weird takes on wokeness and like have strangely been in support in a way of like DeSantis' stance on education. They've called it like a classic education or return to classic education. Oh, you talking
about the People's Party specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to look stuff up to like find out more dirt on him to see if it was a grift. And the only thing that I could really find, other than you look up People's Party and the People's Party from like the 1800s pops up, is I found their website and they were doing the whole like, oh yeah, these are what we support, Medicare for all, blah, 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 yada, yada, this, like education, cool things.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of threw in there, we need to return to hand counting ballots.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Like, what?
Yeah.
Where is this coming from? They're like, we need to restore democracy and start hand counting our ballots again. What?
There's also the observation that I'm pretty sure this is the Jimmy Dore group.
Yeah.
And also Cornell West did his official presidential announcement on Russell Brand's show.
That's such a huge red flag.
And Russell Brand is a far-right conspiracy theory lunatic who you should never trust. He's like RFK, kind of.
He's one of those guys that constantly likes to appropropriate like left-wing talking points and left-wing populism to then just push like, oh, actually Pfizer did COVID.
Yeah. And again, like, because Russell Brand will go on about like the profit motive and how the trans lobby's making a bunch of money or whatever it may be. But again, without any real structural critique, you might as well just be saying it's a small cabal that's controlling the world. You have to have that structural critique of capitalism and understand how the profit motive works. Otherwise, you're just going to fall into the trap of thinking that it's the Jews,
like,
right?
Without actually thinking about it, you're going to naturally go to, there's a small cabal of people that are controlling this all.
Yeah, you have to have a deeper understanding of the issues. And unfortunately, I think Cornel West does. I don't think he's like an anti-Semite. I hope
he's
not,
like a
at least.
Smart guy, which is
like
weird to see why he went on Russell Brand to do this.
He's also old, though, so he could be kind of getting tricked by these people. I feel like he's probably fallen for similar things before. And it's also worthy to note that Bernie Sanders does not associate himself with this party at all. Yeah. I think they asked him to be like the front man for them, and he said no.
No,
and Bernie is a pretty good indication of like good positions, at least like mainstream leftist positions. So,
but it's also just like Bernie also understands like the issues with third parties, and how first past the post like voting won't let a third party ever win.
Well, yeah, exactly right, and that's the other contention is that in a country that has first past the post and all you need is even just a plurality to win elections, we don't assign seats based on I don't know, percentages or proportion of the population. In a country that does that, third parties just aren't viable.
You can't. You're
single
just
member
playing
districts.
spoiler.
You just can't do it. Yeah,
that's why it would be sick if Trump ran as an independent and DeSantis got the nomination so that they could spoil each other.
Yeah, but also it's like the People's Party. Even if they are just a grift to like siphon campaign donations into like a group of friends or whatever, even if that's their idea, they are running in a sort of left lane that would just siphon votes from Joe Biden. Yeah. And doing that means DeSantis or Trump wins, right? You got to think about the consequences. And look, I hate the two-party system.
Yeah.
I really like Democrats, awful party.
Horrible.
But there's a little bit more at stake right now than the two-party system. Trans people existing, for example, like abortion rights and so much more.
It's a bit high and mighty to say like, well, you know, if you don't like the two-party system, why don't you vote for the candidate you actually support? It's like, well, you can't. You kind of have to get into a little bit of harm reduction. We're not at a stage in anything where we can sit there and get on our high horses and say like, oh yeah, well I'm voting for a third-party candidate because that's the person that's going to do the real change. That's the person who's really principled. It's like, no, I'm gonna vote for Joe Biden. Like, I'm not going to be happy about it.
the way our voting system works, terribly broken and easily fixable, right? If we had ranked choice voting across the entire country, every state, every election, for sure, I'd tell you to go vote for third-party candidates if you want.
All the time.
Because you wouldn't be, in a sense, throwing away your vote to the right-wing candidate who's going to win off of the 5% that the third-party candidate gets, right? But we don't have that system right now, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening anytime soon. So for now, we got to vote for Democrats, unfortunately.
For now, we kind of got to eat shit and put in the work for the primaries.
Yeah.
But not this primary, because this primary sucks.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the primary, one last thing we can talk about before ending it out is the RNC debate.
Ooh.
The RNC Republican Party, or the Republican National Committee, has put out some debate rules, and they have a date set now for when the debate's going to occur.
I'm excited.
It's on August 23rd. That's the date that they've picked. Circle it, mark it, start it, do whatever you got to do.
Take the day off.
Yeah, take the whole day off to prep for it. August 23rd will be the first primary debate for candidates running on the Republican ticket. And they've set up the following criteria to ensure that you're eligible. You have to have a minimum of 40,000 donors from at least 200, with at least 200 from 20 different states. So just making sure you can raise money, I suppose.
I guess.
And then you also have to reach 1% on 3 polls following July 1st, 2 of them of which have to be national polls.
I guess that makes you have to be relevant.
Yeah, you have to be relevant.
You can't just show up on the debate stage.
And you have to hit a minimum number of donors, that being 40,000. And with this criteria, we can already safely say that Trump, DeSantis, obviously they're going to make it. DeSantis raised like 8 million already, which is kind of it's fine.
I feel like that's not really a lot for a guy like him.
Well, I think it was like 8 million off of like right after his announcement he raised.
Oh, okay.
Which is like good numbers for a candidate, but at the same time, I know he was collecting for primary in general, which is a thing you can do. Because the max an individual contribution can give is, I think, like 3,300 this election cycle. So he was collecting 66, but he's gonna have to give it back if he doesn't make it to the general election. So it's a little inflated. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, cool.
So we know Trump, DeSantis, they're gonna be on the debate stage no matter what. Vivek has already indicated he's made it. Based on these guidelines.
I'm sure he did, yeah.
Nikki Haley's likely to make it. Mike Pence is probably going to make it. Tim Scott's probably going to make it. Chris Christie, maybe.
Yeah.
I think most of the people that have announced will probably make it onto the debate stage, given this criteria.
Are we jolting?
Well, Bolton hasn't announced.
Oh, that's...
I want to. Trust me, I want to, but we're running out of time for us to jolt for the Bolt.
Come on, John, bro. You don't have that much. You got to give 40,000. Maybe he was waiting. Maybe he was waiting for the criteria to get on stage.
I'm not getting that.
No, he is.
I will be all 40,000 of those donors. I will make up fake names.
I'll run across 20 states. Let me tell you. I'll start donating. I'll throw out some fucking money. And that's why you should hit the Patreon.
Yeah, so we can make sure John Bolton makes it on the debate stage. We did get a new guy announce his run for president, though.
Really?
Doug Burnham.
Oh, nice.
You know we're Burnham heads around here.
We're absolutely big Burnham guy.
Or Doug Burgum, North Dakota governor. He's announced. I don't know what he thinks he's doing. I didn't know who this guy was until I saw a single headline that he announced.
He's the North Dakota governor?
Yeah, I think so. South Dakota's Kristi Noem.
Okay, yeah. I always get confused.
Yeah.
I always get confused. She's bad enough for both of them. So there's not really room for Doug to get in there.
Yeah, Kristi Noem should have announced instead, but I think she said that she's not going to. So,
you know, rip.
John Bolton heard the good ones; they're not joining. We got all the bad ones though. Kristi, Mike Pence.
That's crazy. I think if Vivek's polling at like a couple percent, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll make it.
He'll
definitely make it. No doubt in my mind, Vivek's gonna make it.
He's
a sleeper pick.
There's gonna be some sound bites that come out of that August 23rd debate. Let me tell you.
And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it.
I'm pumped. I'm already getting the popcorn ready.
So mark your calendars. We'll be covering that 100%.
That's right. And speaking of marking your calendars, right? I think we're gonna have to start marking our calendars about every week from now for the next couple months, couple weeks, really, because it's SCOTUS decision time, baby.
That's right.
You already know.
In this time, typically we say SCOTUS, and all of you
scoff,
become fearful.
Yeah,
you're
you
worried,
quiver,
dread,
you're shaking your boots.
You're just you're draped in dread as we went to the Supreme Court.
You sit there in a fetal position with the blanket around, like, oh no, what rights have been taken away from me today, which is a valid concern.
Well, this time we have good news out of the Supreme Court. I'm happy to report we have good news out of the Supreme Court. My position on SCOTUS has changed. We need to bolster the institution so it can never be taken away.
Exactly. I'm now anti-packing the court.
Yep.
I'm anti-judicial oversight.
Yeah. Look, they made a good decision.
It's a good institution now.
Yeah. So the Supreme Court recently ruled 5-4 to uphold the Voting Rights Act laws concerning racial gerrymandering. Ooh. Now, this needs a little bit of background, but it's a 5-4 decision, And before we get to it, I'll let you all guess who flipped sides, because that means two conservatives voted with the liberals on this one.
It's two conservatives.
If it's a good one, you know that conservatives are all on the other side. We can already rule out Clarence Thomas.
You already know where Clarence Thomas is. And it's reading about this decision really had me thinking earlier, fuck, dude, has he ever been on the right side of a decision?
I don't think so.
Because there was another decision that dropped this week that was a bit of a sleeper. It was it ended up being Ketanji Brown Jackson's first major opinion.
Okay.
It was a case reaffirming patients' rights to privately sue people who violate Medicare things. If people do bad things on Medicare, institutions, hospitals do bad things on Medicare that they can't do as per federal regulations, individuals can sue them for that. Okay. And it was just a case reaffirming that. And it ended up being good. If it would have been bad, it would have been really bad. It would have gutted Medicare almost completely, pretty much. And that was cool. Clarence Thomas was on the wrong side of that.
I'm not surprised.
It was a 7-2 decision, too. And Clarence Thomas and Alito held their ground.
So a little bit of background on this decision. As we've talked about before, state legislatures and U.S. House districts have to be redrawn every 10 years based on census data on the map. So when you're trying to figure out what district you're in and you look at the little map with all the numbers, those get changed every 10 years. And they were just changed in after 2020.
They were just changed in a bunch of places.
Yeah. And that's exactly what this case concerns. So gerrymandering, of course, the practice of drawing maps to produce a certain outcome. Racial gerrymandering, you can imagine, is the practice of drawing maps in a way to disempower people of color, usually by splitting up neighborhoods and cities into smaller
chunks.
Think
about Austin, Texas, and the way it's split into 6 districts.
Yeah, it's just a means of drawing the map to set the rules such that it's really hard for communities of color to come together and actually showcase political power. That's basically what this is. And in the 1965 Voting Rights Act, it established what's called majority-minority districts. This basically says that if a certain percent of the voting population is black, for example, it could be any racial group, but black, for example, and there's an opportunity to draw a district that is more than 50% black voters, states have to do it.
Yeah.
And this rule and basically the entire Voting Rights Act was, of course, in response to historical discrimination at the polls against black people and other racial minorities. So these districts have been a means of ensuring that people have adequate representation where they usually didn't. Now, important note, because I've seen this conservative take already, racial groups don't inherently share political interests.
Yes.
Don't be a white supremacist, okay? Don't fall into the racial essentialism or anything like that. Black Americans, for example, share political interests because of the history of oppression. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't.
I can already hear Candace Owens talking oh, whoa, I'm not a Democrat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a Democrat. I can already hear it.
Don't be a white supremacist. It's nothing inherent to any racial group. It's because of the history of political persecution.
It's really
obviously
just about trends and how some of them kind of have to vote.
Yep. Now, the Voting Rights Act's been gutted before by SCOTUS, which is why I'm so surprised.
Been gutted by John Roberts.
Yeah.
Ever since Section 2, which was voted in by Ronald Reagan, which kind of expanded racial gerrymandering things in a good way.
Protections.
One of the only good things Ronald Reagan ever did, honestly. Ever since Ronald Reagan did that, Justice Roberts attended weekly strategy meetings back when he was only an attorney for the Justice Department to try and gut it. He constantly has worked his entire career to gut it. So many SCOTUS decisions that he's headed have gone back on it.
Oh my
so it was really weird to see him author the majority opinion here, reaffirming support and going back, not necessarily going back on precedent, but going back on his own personal precedent.
Yeah.
That was kind of nuts.
We got some special demons in the fucking Supreme Court.
Really do.
Right? Imagine committing years of your life to gutting the Voting Rights Act. Anyway, in 2013 SCOTUS decision, Shelby County v. Holder, the Supreme Court ruled, of course, authored by Justice Roberts, that states with a previous history of discriminating at the polls don't have to go through the extra Voting Rights Amendment or the Voting Rights Act procedures to change their election laws. In the past, states like Texas, for example, would have to get additional approval before they can change their laws.
By a federal board.
Because they were known to discriminate against people with their voting laws. But that's not in place anymore. It hasn't been since 2013, and that was a really bad thing. That
was a bad thing. I think there was also some shit. There was also some shit saying the way that the text of the Voting Rights Act, or there was an expansion that John Roberts and the court put into the Voting Rights Act as justices. I was reading about it this morning. They've put in language that's not in the text of the bill or the Constitution.
Crazy that they can do that,
to create new precedents surrounding it to kind of gut the Voting Rights Act. There was something that said okay, but there were popular forms of voter discrimination in the 80s that were actually lawful. So it was sick, right?
Love that. Well, it makes it surprising because of their track record of being so terrible. In this case, Merrill v. Mulligan, that they actually sided against the racial gerrymander.
Yeah.
In Alabama,
Not Clarence Thomas, though.
Oh, no, of course not. Alabama was accused of racially gerrymandering while a quarter of their population is black. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like they had 7, I think, House
7
districts. And only one of them actually comprised of 50% or more.
Yeah, one of them was majority
voters,
minority, and I think it represented about 14% of my overall population, which was like half of the minority population because Alabama's 27% black.
Yeah. So some organization sued, said, what the hell are you doing? And the Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision actually ruled that the Alabama state legislature deprived black voters of the right to choose a representative, which is, again, wholly unexpected because it upholds the Voting Rights Act. And John Roberts and if you were guessing at the beginning, John Roberts and Brett Kavanaugh are the ones that switched sides away from the conservative court. So welcome to the resistance, Brett and John.
They're now leftist. They're communist, Marxist.
CRT, the woke mind virus.
Yeah, basically. The woke mind virus got to them, guys. Come on. The last bastion of conservatism in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, so Clarence Thomas, being Clarence Thomas,
oh my God,
wrote a 48-page dissent where he tore this apart. A lot of his arguments were pretty stupid, but the main point is that he basically, one of the main points that I was able to pull out was that he basically said he doesn't think that any current law should allow challenges to how districts are drawn. Only the voting rules should be challenged, which is like, what are you voting for? Like what's on the ballot? He also tried to liken these majority-minority districts to segregation, which I thought was a good take. Oh, great take from Thomas, of course.
Sick, great one, Thomas.
Yeah, we know he really cares about that deeply.
Oh my God, what a guy! He also has this quote. I'm going to read you this little block of text from Insider, and they're reporting on this. In his dissenting opinion, Thomas wrote that the court's decision has turned Section 2, the part of the Voting Rights Act that bans gerrymandering based on race, into quote nothing more than a racial entitlement to roughly proportional control of elective offices, limited only by feasibility, wherever different racial groups constantly prefer different candidates. Yeah. Yeah. I think people generally are entitled to proportional representation. like I feel like that's a crazy take to have. Like, really, you're going to say that minorities are entitled to equal representation?
Oh my God. I feel like
you're going to say that minority votes shouldn't be disenfranchised?
I feel like every time we cover something SCOTUS related, a decision or a joint statement against oversight rules, I always have the feeling like I could write something better than this for their side. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that's what I'm saying. Especially all of Thomas's decisions, really.
Yeah.
I've never been to law school. Like, humbly, I think I could write it better than him. Humbly.
I'd probably fuck up like the formatting and then like the pursuant to U.S. code, blah, blah, blah. But like theoretically, you know, on the politics side, I could definitely do better than him. He seems to suck at this.
It's crazy because like when you get to the minutia of the case and some of the things that were being argued, one of the things is you have to, if you are alleging that you're being disenfranchised based on race, you have to present the legislature with like 5 different versions of maps that work to alleviate the racial gerrymandering that was going on. Alabama, as a state, as the defendant in this case, was trying to argue that okay, you actually can't redraw those maps based on race though, because that's racist. But it's like, if you're trying to alleviate a racial disparity, you kind of have to do it based on race.
Well,
like if you're trying to work with like disproportionate representation and disenfranchising groups, you kind of have to factor race into how you draw these maps, especially when you're considering majority districts.
Well, and that's the exact thing, right? Is that the Voting Rights Act actually accounts for that because there's a criteria for when you're not supposed to construct majority-minority districts.
Yeah.
It's very specific. And the Supreme Court, I guess,
upheld it.
The Supreme Court, in a positive note, I guess, throughout history, has been very particular in the way in which maps need to be drawn.
Yeah.
Not necessarily along partisan lines. They don't really touch like partisan gerrymanders too much, where you draw based on where Democrats and Republicans are. But in terms of racial gerrymanders, they have historically been pretty like specific about what you need to do. And it is true that it can be a form of racial gerrymandering to put black voters all into one district, right? It's called packing. It's actually a pretty common form that Republicans will often use to try to disenfranchise voters or consolidate their voting power so they can't get a commanding majority anywhere. But again, the Voting Rights Amendment or the Voting Rights Act, very specific about how you're supposed to do these kinds of things that I'm sure they just weren't looking at. And it should be noted, I don't love the solution because I don't love that gerrymandering is like a thing that you can do. But the reason, as you said, that these districts are necessary is because Alabama knows this as a state legislature. If they don't have to follow these rules, then they can basically make it so black voters have no political power. And that's what's been done historically.
The intention is to disenfranchise, so you kind of have to engage in some, like, I don't want to say fucky behavior, but restorative behavior. And you have to recognize these realities. Another thing that you have to prove in order to like redraw these districts and allege the racial discriminations, you have to prove that the people that you're packing into a minority majority district will vote the same. Like you have to bring some proof that they are a block of voters. You can't just like pack people together based on race. There has to be an external reason for it. And it's like not the best solution, again, like Jeremy said, but it's a thing that we have to do. And this is going to result in a pretty good thing when we consider the next round of elections, because it's almost guaranteed to get us an extra representative in the House, like get Democrats an extra representative.
Well, and it's like the fact that maps have to be drawn, or the fact that maps are drawn by state legislatures already is like a broken system, because clearly they're going to draw it to benefit whoever's in power the year that the census data comes out. It's already a fucked up process. And again, I don't love the solution of majority minority districts because it can get pretty bad if you let it. In terms of like consolidating power so they can never have a majority. But I mean, we're in a world of limited solutions here. I think that this should be left up to independent commissions to handle, like they did in Michigan and I think California. Because it seems like that outcome was just better for everybody.
I actually think this should hinge on the independent state legislature theory. Another banger decision that we're waiting on that I hope this one signals they'll be not in support of.
It's all highly dependent on context in the state and where, how demographics looks in the state, like where people are divided and stuff like that. And I'm by no means an expert on any of this. There are people far smarter than me that know how to draw maps in a way that's actually fair and equitable. And I personally think it should be left up to them to figure that out.
And people that don't have a vested interest in maintaining power through the drawing of those maps.
There's also the observation that in the past, these were certainly very necessary tools to ensure that like white supremacists didn't just control literally everything. But now black people can get elected in a lot of different districts. They don't have to just rely on majority minority districts. And I think that's why Republicans are coming against them right now, or trying to phase them out of existence. And we're hoping for a more beneficial SCOTUS decision, because they recognize that they can't cheat as well as they could before. Because that's what gerrymandering is, right?
Basically,
cheating.
100%.
Yeah.
God, look at Dan Crenshaw's district. Like, that shit is fucked.
Eye patch.
Yeah, the eye patch. I think there's a district in like Ohio that's connected by like a very thin thread and very clearly just packs some minorities in there in a bad way. Oh, goodness gracious.
And again, can't hammer this home enough. Black voters only have aligned political interests because of the history of oppression. There is no inherent racial element that makes you have shared interests with people that are of your same race. There is no white interest that you need to adhere to, which is why white districts aren't a political necessity, to be clear.
This is taken in account for in the way that these majority minority districts have to work, in that they have to have a pre-existing record of voting as a block beforehand. You can't just pack any random black people. It's a diverse group on the inside, but there are blocks that vote this way, and we don't want to disenfranchise them.
Yeah, exactly. There's reasons that these rules exist, and I, for one, am in favor of the Voting Rights Act. Hot take, potentially.
Yeah.
I actually do like the Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act. You can put that in there as well.
I'm pro-voting rights.
You can mark me down as a supporter of these pieces of legislation.
Anti-Prax Ben, pro-Voting Rights Act.
Anyway, welcome to the Resistance, John and Brett. I'm glad to have you. I really loved the edits of these guys.
Those were good.
With like
with the kente cloth?
Yeah, with like the headwear, and then there was one of John Roberts on the political compass with like all the quadrants with different decisions. So good. Oh, I loved it. Anyway,
you know, anyone can change, really, and I think we have to celebrate that, and we should applaud people when they change.
And it's like we should also celebrate the good news when we get it, because you never know when just a democracy-ending decision is gonna come out.
Because, like, let's be real, I don't know, like, I don't really have an opinion based on like evidence on what they're going to do with Morvey Harper.
No idea.
But I feel like they are 100% gunning affirmative action.
Yeah.
There's 2 cases on the docket, but I think it's 100%
no
gone.
chance, right?
There's no chance that they let that shit stand.
And it's also, I think a lot of people that are much smarter than we are when it comes to the law have noted that this is more of an affirmation of previous decisions than it is any like crazy advancement in their stance on like protecting racial groups in our elections.
Oh yeah, 100%.
This isn't anything radical. This is more just kind of a status quo kind of decision.
And it's more just like Alabama. There are already rules outlined that this group that challenged you adhered to when proving their point. They didn't really do much intellectual work to figure this one out like they might have to with other decisions.
I didn't get a look at the Alabama map, but I'm going to guess it's pretty egregious because, one, Alabama. Yeah. Right? It's kind of a given. Sure. I can just kind of assume that. Sure. But also, two, I'm pretty sure SCOTUS has refused to look at other maps from different states that had a similar complaint. Yeah. So I'm going to guess that Alabama's was
egregiously bad.
Egregiously bad.
Egregiously bad. For this SCOTUS to pick it up? Ooh.
I think they typically defer to lower courts, like state Supreme Courts, making a decision on this kind of stuff.
And this was also...
But this is like especially bad. I'm going to guess.
Yeah, this decision was also upholding a lower court's decision from, I think, 2 Trump appointees that agreed with voting rights, which is crazy.
Yeah, they must have looked at them like, yeah, this is bad.
It's been like, guys, come on, like we can be better about this.
Yeah, you be a bit more subtle.
Come on.
Anyways, I think that ends our little Supreme Court decision. Got to celebrate the wins when we get one, or I guess the lack of a loss. However you want to interpret
the lack of a loss that's definitely a good way to put it. Yeah, that's definitely because like another SCOTUS decision that I think they're 100% going to rule in favor of discrimination on is the gay cake one.
Oh no, it's a wedding website one. Cake is like the common hypothetical.
Oh my God, yeah.
But it's the website.
Well, it's the thing that happened a couple years ago. But this one was a person who didn't want to make a website for a gay couple's wedding.
Yep.
I think that shit's getting gutted. I don't think they're going to side.
The Baker example is what people commonly refer to. But yeah, it's the same situation, right? Should you be able to say you don't want to provide your business services to somebody based on their sexuality or, for that matter, race, et cetera, et cetera?
I think that I think it's going to be a 5-4 decision.
Yeah, let's just run some gambling. Let's just do a little gambling here.
Let's make a sports betting website, but bet on Supreme Court decisions. We can have a little spread going on.
I'll put a quarter of my half the Patreon on a 6-3 decision in favor.
I'll put a quarter of my half of the Patreon on a 5-4 decision in favor of discrimination. Brett switch sides. And it's going to be based on your First Amendment right to protect you from religious discrimination because they're discriminating against the person who didn't want to make the website based on her religion because she's a Christian and views homosexuality as a sin.
Oh, nice.
And then they're gonna reaffirm textual evidence within the Bible that says that homosexuality is a sin.
And Clarence Thomas is going to drop a crazy concurring opinion.
Oh, Clarence Thomas is going to write the majority opinion, and it's going to be nuts.
It's like, actually, you shouldn't be allowed to sell gay people anything.
Anything, actually. Somehow it's going to reaffirm sodomy laws, and they're going to be back on the books.
Yeah.
And then Ken Paxton, he's not going to get impeached. He's actively being impeached.
Yeah, Clarence Thomas is going to find a way to sneak in that Lawrence v. Texas is just overturned. It's just not there anymore. For that matter, Obergefell gone as well.
Obergefell fucked. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, akin to losing LGBTQ rights, we've got some stories out of Texas to talk to.
Yeah, even if the Supreme Court's not taking your rights away,
Texas will.
States may be doing it piaful.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Texas. We promised we would last week. We'd promised we'd talk about it on this pod last week.
After
we're giving you all a break.
Yeah. After you rested at the bonfire.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a break, but you're not done. We're not done because we got to talk about it as we do just about every week. Texas just legislated what may be interpreted as a drag ban, which is exactly probably what it's going to be interpreted as. It's a drag ban. It's less extreme than we've seen out of states like Tennessee, for example, but it's still basically the same idea. These are all very similar in their intent and their scope.
They love biting each other's flow.
But it's basically what it is. So it's presented as a bill to prohibit sexual performances in front of children, which on its face, of course.
It's like, right?
But again, that's always how these are framed. But upon deeper examination, it bans the following performances on all public property. That includes like government-owned property and stuff like that. Or in front of those that are younger than 18 or, of course.
Okay.
The list is representation or exhibition of sexual acts, representation or exhibition of male or female genitalia, the exhibition of a device designed and marketed as useful primarily for sexual stimulation, and this is the one that people are pointing out, the exhibition of sexual gesticulations using accessories or prosthetics that exaggerate male or female sexual characteristics. That's the part that's functionally the drag ban that people are interpreting, or that people are thinking will be interpreted as no drags, no drag performances.
Because it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't engage in like gesture that exaggerates male or female characteristic. What the fuck does that mean? What is a gesture that does that?
You know, like the restaurant bar Twin Peaks.
Yeah, Hooters, like Hooters and Twin Peaks. Well, shit like that.
They came out. I don't know if they were like talking or on the news or what it was, but they were like, "Ayo, this is gonna affect us."
Yeah, because like, we're a titty bar.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Oh, well, is it like explicitly sexual?" And they're like, "Yeah."
I mean, it's tits. Like, no, that's crazy. I saw another tweet earlier while every conservative on the internet was on their homophobic tip. It was like a picture. I don't even think it was from this year. It was a picture from some pride event somewhere where someone was like twerking in the street and like a kid could see it. Say what you will, whatever. They're like, this shit is absolutely disgusting and morally abhorrent. I can't believe that they would allow their kids to look at this. And it's like, bro, you're the same type of person that would take your kid to Hooters.
Yeah.
They're the same thing.
Well, and it's like
whether or not a kid sees someone twerking at a pride event or is taken to Hooters by their dad is the same fucking thing. You just don't like the rainbow attached to it.
That's exactly the point I was going to make. Is like, it's 2023. You can see twerking anywhere you want.
Exactly.
Like, you do. You can't not see twerking anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying is like I'm not making any argument about it, right? Yeah. But the thing is like. Yeah, there's all kinds of examples you can point to where it's like, for example, when it's like a kid that's say like 10 years old, they're like, oh, he's a lady killer.
Yeah.
Or he'll see like, I don't know, say like Mardi Gras is happening or something like, oh yeah, that kid got to see a lady. Like that, how lucky is he?
Yeah.
But then you get mad when like the rainbow's there.
Or like it's like a funny bit in media to like flash like a kid. Like it used to be a thing, flashing like kids. And people used to be like, ha 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 ha.
And they're like, oh, the kid's life has changed forever. He'll always remember this.
Or
It's
like a popular bit of media.
And to be clear, that's always been weird.
Yeah,
like
always,
I'm not defending that.
Yeah. It's like a popular bit in media always be like, oh, this kid, they're just looking to see like a titty or something. It's like, yeah, like I get like where this is coming from, but you never cared then. You never cared then until you put out a serious lobby to make Hooters and Twin Peaks and any other restaurant like that, 18 plus establishments. I'll never fucking believe you.
Yeah,
you just don't like the rainbow.
Do you actually care that kids are seeing this, or do you just not like that you can associate it with gay people now?
Exactly. Or it's even here? Like it's another like popular trope in like media and pop culture to see like, oh, a father finds out that his like 16 or 15-year-old son just got laid. Oh, high five, great job, kiddo.
Yeah.
They don't complain about that. That shit's weird too.
It is. Yeah, it's always been weird, right?
God.
Or pageants, for example,
Beauty
which is pretty
pageants,
explicit. Yeah. But I can actually tell you what the literal intent of this legislation was, because I have how the bill was written initially. It said, quote, a male performer, this is what I outlawed, quote, a male performer exhibiting as a female or a female performer exhibiting as a male who uses clothing, makeup, or other similar physical markings and who sings, lip syncs, dances, or otherwise performs before an audience. That's what was banned.
Sick. We're banning theater.
Yeah, well, and it's like,
again, these
pretty
turn out
obvious
to be theater bands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they can't. It's oh my god.
That's a good point. You can't have a lot of plays or musicals on public property anymore. That's
Or kids. You can't have school theater. They're defunding theater programs.
I know the theater lobby's powerful.
Oh yeah.
Get some money over there.
Big theater. Ooh.
I know you don't got writers right now, but like
started.
Yeah, no. So that was the original intent of the bill. It seems like the wording was just changed after receiving some heat, but like the original intent is preserved, and the way in which it'll be interpreted and enforced is probably just about the same.
Like, how does this work for like is it like explicit like live performances?
I guess so. Like, no, you can't do it on public property. No local governments can do it. That.
What
kind
about
of thing.
like movies? What if there's a screening of Mrs. Doubtfire? Like what if there's a screening of Medea somewhere and a kid like a PG-13 movie that features like someone cross-dressing as a bit, like something that used to happen all the time.
Or a Stephen Crowder video.
Kids shouldn't be seeing those anyway.
Well, for sure not. Well, that's kind of my point, is that these laws are going to be applied inconsistently because their purpose isn't to lay down some general rule for the protection of children, but it's to target the LGBTQ. And it's like, being in drag doesn't necessarily like make you gay or make you trans or anything like that, but it's just associated with the LGBTQ, which is why Republicans want to target it.
Or it's like that. There was like not a Patagonia ad. There was like a North Face ad from like a year ago or something. It's like, can you not play that in public anymore? Can kids not see that? That featured like a drag queen in like a campy outfit.
Well, it was literally like a tent.
Yeah, right? It was kind of sick. I thought it was really funny because it's camp, it's a tent. Clever. Like it's so clever.
Yeah,
it's so clever. But can kids not see that now?
Yeah.
Like what the they're not principled. Like the ultimate point behind all of this is they're not principled in any of these attacks. It's just the culture war, and they're just doing it to hurt people for their own political power.
Yeah. So this bill, I think it's heading to the governor's desk now, Greg Abbott's desk. I don't think it's been signed yet, but I'm going to assume it's going to be. It passed the Senate and the House in Texas, so I'm going to assume this becomes law pretty quick if it hasn't already.
I think it comes into effect September 1st.
Oh, no, that's the next law we're about to talk about. If you thought that was all, you're wrong. We got to talk about an even worse piece of legislation. So just last week, Greg Abbott signed into law a ban on gender-affirming care for youth in the state of Texas. The law is set to go into effect starting September 1st, as Gage just mentioned. This makes Texas the 18th state to establish a ban on gender-affirming care. In reality, this ban isn't all that different from the 17 states that came before it. It's not as extreme as the recent Florida gender-affirming care bill that just happened, which we should cover next episode because that one's enormous.
Was there somewhere that banned gender-affirming care for like adults too, or tried?
That's the one in Florida.
Oh my God.
It doesn't like explicitly say you can't do this, but it adds so many hoops and regulations that you basically can't access it
Is
anymore.
That the one where it's like you have to go to therapy for like a year?
Oh, that was a different state. I don't remember what state.
We covered that one, didn't we?
We did cover that one. I remember.
I can't even keep them straight anymore.
Yeah. The Florida one allows like literal abductions of children.
That's right. Yeah.
We need to talk about
that next week.
More in depth next week. But basically, it was funny. I saw like a fact check on it that was like, no, this bill does not allow kidnapping. It just allows the state of Florida to take custody of your child if they get gender affirming care.
Guys, no, kidnapping is a crime.
Well, that's illegal. And the government's doing it, so it must not be illegal. We'll talk about that next week, though, so stay tuned for that one. But yeah, Texas just passed a gender-affirming care bill. It's pretty awful stuff. Hate to see it. Absolutely hate to see it.
God damn, bro.
Yeah. And as we've talked about before many times, we know gender-affirming care reduces suicidality rates. It has an incredibly low regret rate for just about everybody that goes through different treatments. We also know it's an incredibly long process. You don't just walk in and get whatever treatment that conservatives think you're getting. Yeah. It's a lot of consultation with doctors.
And was it just a flat-out all gender-affirming care? Like
for youth,
no HRT, no puberty blockers?
Right. It's just gone.
See, it's like puberty blockers and HRT are both generally reversible. Like
well, that's the point.
There are some aspects of it that aren't like super reversible depending on how long you've been on it. But either way, anyone who is on puberty blockers and anyone who is on HRT is going to be in constant consultation with their doctor to make sure that nothing is going wrong as a result and make sure that they are staying healthy throughout their care process.
Yeah.
Leave it to the fucking doctors. Like you as Greg Abbott and the Texas legislature, you have no right to be interfering in this process. It's not a matter of protecting kids. You're not fucking protecting kids. The doctors are the ones that are going to be doing that.
Well, especially because conservatives like to frame it as though kids are being deceived as to what's happening. Like, there's no mystery as to what's going to happen to your body when you're taking these treatments. It's pretty clear. Doctors aren't lying.
Yeah.
It's not a mystery.
It's going to block puberty. It's going to do a little it's going to block puberty. Like, come on. It's going to do some other things as a side effect, but like, you are going to be made aware of those.
Yeah.
You are going to be made aware of what can be reversed and what possibly can't be reversed depending on how long you're on it. It's going to be a constant process where you're constantly checking up with your doctor to make sure everything's healthy, make sure you still want to be on them.
Yeah.
Like, we can link a Mayo Clinic article from like 2022 about puberty blockers. Yeah. Like in the description of this video. We will link the Mayo Clinic article in the description of this video. You should go read it. Like it makes it very clear that this is a constant process.
Yeah, and the thing that really gets it's just like it's not a mystery. You'll see like conservatives like Matt Walsh, they'll boost people that are like, "Oh my God, I went bald after taking hormones." It's like, yeah,
it's like I'm going bald. Because I got the testosterone.
Exactly. That's yes.
Yeah, like
it's not a mystery. Like it's a consequence of, I don't know. People just I don't know. It's so ridiculous that they frame
just
it like
that's
that.
what Tess does. Baby male pattern baldness. Like welcome to the club. It's gender affirming.
Yeah. And so a lot of people have taken to calling these kinds of bans, especially the Texas one, these kinds of bans on gender affirming care forced detransitioning. And I think that's true.
100%.
That's basically what it is, because from what I understand about puberty blockers and taking hormones is that these things are so helpful for trans teenagers because they prevent you from experiencing a puberty that would otherwise be a special kind of hell for you to go through, because all these changes are happening to your body that are not in line with your gender identity, right? It's a special kind of torment. And the fact that we have treatments to avoid this mental torment that you'd have to go through. The fact that conservatives would want to legislate or would want to prohibit your ability to get those medicines is just uniquely evil.
Especially because like a large portion of the gender affirming care for kids argument that conservatives hinge on is their really weird depictions of like surgery, that it's like, yeah, any surgery is gruesome. Like,
exactly.
Any surgery looks gross when it's happening. That's a trick. That's like a gimmick that they've been going on. Yeah. But they love to hinge on like gender trans, like top and bottom surgery for like minors and stuff, which rarely happens. If it does, the only thing that actually does happen more consistently, but it's so rare, it's like a double mastectomy. Yeah. Right, where you get your breasts removed. And puberty blockers, they'll stop that. Yeah. You won't need to get a double mastectomy if you take puberty blockers like at an early enough age. Well, yeah. Like, in a way, we can just get rid of these things. We can nip it at the source.
Well, it's like hormones. Taking hormones has been a thing since like the 80s, right? Yeah. These are not unsafe treatments that are suddenly new and have never been tested before. Like you can find studies on. We've had them around for decades. Yeah. Puberty blockers seem to be, or according to various studies that I've seen, are pretty safe medications, mostly reversible up to a certain point, obviously. And they seem to be helpful to people that need them. Again, incredibly low regret rate. And the fact that we have this kind of medication and conservatives want to prevent people from being able to access it, even though we know it reduces suicide rates, you want to kill people, right? Yeah. Like that's I don't know how to state it any other way. And it doesn't protect kids, quite the opposite, actually.
Because people who are already on these things, they're going to be forced to get off of them.
Exactly. Well, right.
Like a kid who started puberty blockers when they were like, say 13, 14, they're just... If they're 17 now, going strong, like comfortable in their gender expression, are they gonna have to then get off the puberty blockers and go through hell?
Yeah, well, and that's the kind of like forced detransition that people are talking about. What the fuck? And I think it's absolutely right. Like that's exactly what it is, and it's I don't know, big government overreach if I've ever seen it.
Exactly. And it's like, what, again, against the best wishes of them, their parents, and their doctors?
So much for parental rights.
The medical professionals that are, trained for years to oversee this kind of thing, that deal with these kind of things. Like, it's so fucking beyond stupid.
Yeah, and they'll hammer home all the time about like, oh, these surgeries are happening to children. Like they're getting. Well, they'll be a lot more gruesome about it, but they'll say they're getting bottom surgery, and it's like it's not happening, dog.
They're not.
It's literally not. Especially because a lot of doctors won't do it. Like they'll say you gotta wait.
And if they are, super rare. Yeah. And it's been a long process, and there's been a long history of care already going on there, to where they're like, okay, we are at the point where we think that it would be more beneficial than harmful for you to do this now. It's not like getting a tattoo, because that's something that people love to compare it to. I saw Declaration of Memes on Twitter post this one meme where it was a tattoo shop, and then it was a gender affirming care shop, and it was like, oh, gender affirming care, it's permanent, and it was a mom taking her kid in to get that, but he's like, but I want a tattoo, and she's like, no, you're too young. It's like, wow, you really made a fucking point here, huh?
But you can get a tattue with parent permission. Before you're 18. You can absolutely get a tattoo.
I'm pretty sure tattoos have a higher regret rate than gender affirming care.
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
All those people who have shitty tribal tattoos? Come on. Yeah.
And to be clear, there is no other procedure that I can think of that is cosmetic in nature that has this amount of medical gatekeeping attached to it. Yeah. Like whether we're talking like hair treatments, breast reduction surgeries, or enlargement surgeries for that fact.
And it's like kids
plastic
get
surgery to fix burns, scars. Yeah, of course kids get these all the time. The kind of gatekeeping doesn't apply to those at all. Yeah. And I'm fine with an amount of medical gatekeeping to ensure like this is what you want to do so you can fully understand exactly what's going to happen. But the reason that conservatives are coming after this now is not because they want to protect kids, but because they know it's associated with trans people and they just hate trans people.
Exactly. If they wanted to principally protect kids, they'd leave it up to the professionals, not any random fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry that spent $50 on a MAGA hat.
Yeah. Well, and that's my last note on this, is I hate that I even have to know what any of this means.
Literally.
I shouldn't have to. That part. You know what I mean?
I should know what bottom surgery is.
As an ally, like I'm more than happy to like read up on this and cover it because it's in the news and stuff. Yeah. But this should just be left up to the people that know what the fuck they're talking about. And I shouldn't have to like read the studies and know exactly like regret rates percentages. Like no average person should have to know.
No, I shouldn't be able to have it like on deck. Like, okay, this part is reversible. This part maybe isn't reversible. Yeah. It's a complex process with your doctor. I shouldn't have to have Mayo Clinic articles just like ready to go. I'm a cishet dude. Like I shouldn't be worried about. I should just be able to like be a himbo, but I can't.
Yeah, no. Our freedom's being restricted.
I'm so oppressed.
Not complaining though, because we love our listeners, and we love battling this nonsense. It's who we are. It's in my blood. I like to smoke.
Exactly. I love the smoke.
Yeah.
I love bullying conservatives. It's what I'm built for, really. I'm in it for the love of the game.
Exactly. So the last piece of legislation we have out of Texas is a pretty crazy one.
Okay.
That thankfully didn't pass, but we're still going to cover it anyway. So Texas just attempted to require schools to have the 10 Commandments displayed for every student to see.
So
with
sick.
a piece of legislation. So from the Texas Tribune, it says Texas SB 1515, quote, would have required public school classrooms to display copies of the 10 Commandments that are at least 16 inches wide and 20 inches tall and in a size and typeface that is legible to a person with average vision from anywhere in the classroom. This is a piece of legislation they were attempting to pass.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. They love the Constitution until it comes to any bit of the Constitution that would, I don't know, separate church and state, protect freedoms.
Yeah.
They really only love the Constitution when it says that they can have really big guns, or when when they think that it says they can say slurs online.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's like, so this bill passed their Senate. So if you were thinking like, oh, well, it just got shot down.
Yeah, like,
this is never gonna
some
happen.
dude
It was a fringe bill.
Yeah, some dude brought this up just to like win points with the Christian base in his district. Like that must be what's going on.
No, this bill passed their Senate and received approval from a House committee, but didn't have the chance to make it to the floor for a vote before their session ended, meaning that the bill died and will have to be reintroduced later on if they want to pass it. But it's a pretty clear indication of beliefs, and this is all happening at the same time they're complaining about woke indoctrination by the woke mind virus in the classroom. Well, they are wanting to put their personal religious belief in the classroom for every student to see, regardless of what they believe in.
Let's put the Quran in every classroom, compel every kid to really read it for like a 5-minute warm-up before school starts, and see how well that bill does.
Fuck it.
In the
Next,
Texas Senate.
At the career fairs, we're inviting Al-Qaeda. I don't care. If you want to talk about religious freedom.
I'm inviting the Taliban over.
Yeah, they're getting a booth.
The Taliban delegate.
and they're going to explain to your precious Christian child why Allah has the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they're going to see the light of Allah, inshallah.
I feel like the Texas Senate wouldn't even allow like prayer rugs to be in classrooms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They wouldn't allow any of that shit to happen.
Yeah.
God, if they could pass a bill that would allow teachers to yoink yarmulkes off of kids' heads at will, they would.
Yeah. I guess their interpretation of religious freedom doesn't mean freedom from religion, unfortunately.
It's freedom for our religion.
Yeah, exactly. But they wanted to put it up in schools, and I think that's pretty silly especially when you consider their entire problem with like wokeness right now.
With indoctrination.
Yeah.
And that's just, they don't fucking know. They don't know what that word means.
They don't care either.
They don't know what that, you're very living in society. To live in society is to be indoctrinated. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They like to use it as just like a scary buzzword to try and get you. Oh my God, I'm sick of it.
I think that brings us just about to the end of the episode. One side note, a news story we didn't get to, was that New York was orange.
Yeah, New York is hell. Satan is finally coming to...
K-Lid just opened up, yeah.
The Raptors opened up in New York to punish them for all their Democrat policies.
Apparently there was wildfires in Canada that the smoke kind of plumed over to New York City, and it was all just orange. Also to Detroit, apparently, although I was in and around Detroit and I didn't see any oranges.
We've had like air quality warnings for like the last week because of it, but apparently it's just really bad on the East Coast.
Yeah. I don't know the exact source of the wildfires here, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's probably the effects of climate change.
Something got to do with something, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that's it. I kind of just assumed that it didn't need any further analysis. I just saw all the pictures and they look pretty crazy. Yeah.
It looks like literal hell, actually. Looks like I Am Legend.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the episode. And you know what we do at the end of our episodes.
You know what we do at the end of every single episode for 101 weeks in a row now.
Exactly. We just I just got done updating the patron list. So if you don't hear your name, or if we say your name wrong,
you yell at us. Yell at us in the DMs
and let us know.
You know what to do.
This is the updated list as of Sunday, June 11th.
Yes.
At 4 p.m. precisely.
Yes.
So special thanks to Cricket Scrapbook Layouts, Nikki Nine Lives, Kaden Kraut, Lord T. the Radiant, Chris the Postman, Christy Beck, Talia Katz, 40% Spite, Andrew Harris, Mike Chaplinsky, Mattias T, Omar Zuno, Clayton LaFed, Mark Yeager, Sarah McRoberts, Dylan B, Kaz, Caleb Joy, Jim Bobs, Carl D, Rich Toro, Tari, Gavin Meyer Maldonado, Hunter W, Fergalaki, Max Vesquez, Jacob Rogers, Colton Mooberry, Fixer Punk, Jim Egbers, Jeff Muzzy, Bagel Burrito, Cincy Alex, Brad, Joe Stenstrom, Adrian Sandoval, Chloe Sam 601, Colleen Cuts, Timothy Espinoza, Gregory Isn't My Name, Fair Yook, Jennifer DeVoe, Big Bird Titty, Crawfishin', Benneth Bennington III, Alexia Benanti, Nietzsche, Big Booty Beatdown, Moises T, Sam Maloney, Two-Headed Boy, Jeremy Cadret, Ben Shapiro's boyfriend,
Jonathan Cassis, Luke O'Shea, Cucker Tarlson, Danielle Jackson, The Word of Microsoft, Jennifer Sines, Aaron and His Gundam Gundams, Darth Father, Aiden Taylor, Corey Chambers, Sewer Snack, Ellie N, Heidi Osgood, John Glover, Weed Thief 69, Devin Hatchard, Retro Mondo, Meatball Minion, Emma the Doot Slayer, Claire McMillan, Breezy B, Elijah Murray, Veronica, aka V, Raxoon, Ash Smith, The Grotler, Magic Ian 95, Flower Clown, Jasper Hangaris.
It gets you every time.
Every single time it gets me. Guys, I'm bad at reading. Beetlebugs, Three Crows in a Trench Coat, Lonnie Rogers, Slavic and Sapphic, Casey Lynn Kelly, Snake Eyes, AK Gone, Equanodon, Zachlantian. I got the DM. I saw it. I promise. Zachlantian, Info Russell, Austin Grief, and Jeremy's mom for supporting the show on Patreon. If I pronounced any single one of those names wrong, make sure to hit the DMs and let me know.
I do love how sometimes when you're reading it, it seems like it's the first time you've seen those names.
Yeah. even the names so in like the middle.
Yeah. It's like Joe Stenstrom.
Or like sometimes it's like I remember how I said it, I just didn't remember what it looked like.
Oh, you know? Yeah.
Or I get tripped up because of the commas.
Yeah. Take the commas out, make it just bullet points. We'll figure something out. Anyway.
Bullet points would be long.
Yeah.
Be a long list. I saw somebody say it's already barely readable. Nah.
No, it's actually very readable. Too readable.
It's actually too readable, guys. Let's pump those numbers up.
Yeah, pump those numbers up. If you want your name on that list, check out the Patreon. You can figure it out.
You know what to do. Please help contribute to the episode inflation by adding some more names to the bottom of this list, increasing the runtime of these shows.
Exactly. Less content we have to do.
Yeah.
Because we always skimp on the content.
Exactly. We never go like way over. Originally, we planned to be like an hour-long podcast.
Can't help myself. You know what I'm saying? I just can't help myself.
I just be talking. I spinning. The wheels are turning.
Love of the game. Anyway, thank you all for listening to the episode.
Have a great one.